Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Josh. Kristie's actually out sick today. We'll be back on Monday with fresh content, but in the meantime, enjoy the 15 most viewed stories from 2025.
Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I'm going back on our agreement and I don't care if he cries about it?
I mean, go back on the agreement if you want, but when you make your spouse cry, you're generally the asshole.
My husband and I, both 32, have been together since we were 19. Our entire relationship feels like it just blew up in my face, basically, and I can't tell if I am overreacting. So we both wanted one child, and we have planned for this for years. We both wanted everything perfect first. The home, the careers, the savings, the investments, the nest egg, etc. Because we both knew from very early on that once we had a baby, I would be staying home full-time and raising our child. His brother's life was unfortunately cut short by a daycare worker when he was just 5 months old back in 2017. So daycare wasn't an option, basically, and we needed to make sure our ducks were in a row so I could stay home and be a full-time parent. 2 years ago, we were sitting on $500,000 in investments, a few nest eggs in different types of savings and bonds accounts. We bought the house. We even bought a damn boat. Everything we planned for fell into place, finally, and we started trying for a baby. We now have a perfect 4-week-old daughter. I've been out of work since I was 5 months pregnant due to placenta abruption, but otherwise, everything went fine. She's perfectly healthy, was a good weight, and I bounced back from the delivery fairly quickly because of how much of a support system my husband was.
Congratulations. I'm glad it's going well for you so far, and I'm sure everything is good from now on.
And not all about to go down the toilet?
No, I'm sure it's fine. You can just stop reading. I'm happy. Don't take my happiness away, Kristie.
He did more... My husband did more than his fair share while still working full-time, which is partially why I cannot tell if I'm being dramatic or if this is hormones or postpartum depression or whatever. Like, I am legitimately livid. So basically, earlier this afternoon, I get a phone call from DHHS to go over health insurance options and whether or not the baby is eligible for state insurance based off our income. I had already given DHHS all of our info, social security numbers, date of birth, etc., when they called yesterday and was just waiting for all of our info and assets to be pulled. Anyways, she calls me and says we aren't eligible because my husband makes too much money and that we will need to add her to our private insurance. Absolutely no problem at all. I kind of figured that anyways. But then she offhandedly mentioned that my husband is making $10,920 monthly gross, and that the cutoff for state insurance is $7,830 monthly gross. Well, here's the issue. For months, my husband has been telling me that he only makes $6,000 a month after taxes.
Sorry, those are different measurements. He's making $10,000 gross and $6,000 after taxes. I guess I don't know how much of that is going towards taxes.
Yeah, that seems like a little bit much taken out in taxes, but I don't know what tax bracket they're in. I don't know. But it was enough to make her suspicious, right?
That's fair. She knows the finances better than we do, and she is suspicious.
So I get off the phone and log into my husband's computer and into his banking, and sure enough, his monthly take-home is bordering around $8,500.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a more reasonable amount to be coming out of your paycheck.
He is transferring everything over $6,000 into an account I didn't even know existed. So I call him out on it, and he breaks down and tells me that he just wanted something that was only his.
That's a really big percentage of your paycheck to be only yours.
Please keep in mind that all of my money has always gone into our joint account that he uses on a daily basis. So he is hiding money from me so he can have his own money while plugging away at mine. Over $45,000 he has sitting in this account, while telling me last week that we couldn't have steak for dinner because spending $38 on 2 steaks was a waste of money.
He's putting like 25% of his income into this secret account. That's a crazy amount to be putting in there.
I can understand wanting something of your own, but you should also make sure that your spouse has something of their own, and it shouldn't be a secret.
When you tell your spouse I wanted something of my own, that should be like I went rogue and spent like $200 on something. Once your numbers start getting in the quadruple digits, you're getting shady.
So I told him I am putting the baby in daycare and going back to work because obviously I need to safeguard myself if he is hiding away money. Something feels off about it, I don't know. He instantly started crying, see above daycare trauma, but I truly just don't trust him financially anymore. I no longer feel secure here. I said I changed my mind and I don't care if he cries about it. Am I the asshole?
I mean, you're not the asshole. It's really suspicious that he put away that much money and didn't tell you. It does sound like hiding assets before divorce.
It really does.
Like, what is he planning on doing with this $45,000 that's just for him? That's not fun money anymore. That's a crazy amount of money. You can buy most things with $45,000. And then saying you can't afford steak. Apparently, the money can't just be used to take your wife on a date.
No, he's hoarding it.
Yeah, I want to know what he's saving up for.
Divorce.
Sounds like it.
Top comment, NTA. He doesn't get to have secret financial security set up in case you split up while preventing you from doing the same. He can either dump that $45K into the shared account and give you access to make sure that this doesn't happen again, or he gets to realize that he is the reason that the baby is in daycare.
Yeah, and the fact that you have a newborn makes this even more irresponsible.
NTA, it appears to me that he has already gone back on your agreement by deceiving you about his finances. If he wanted something that was his, you could have agreed to have separate personal accounts as well as joint accounts that fund your regular expenses. Why didn't it occur to him that you might want something that was just yours? I wouldn't trust him either. With that kind of money, if he doesn't want your child in daycare, perhaps he should pay out of his funds that he has been hiding whatever extra would be for a nanny.
I was going to suggest that with $45,000, you could absolutely hire a nanny. And if you're working too, then yeah, I think you could make the salary of a live-in nanny. But it's never good to just have a secret bank account. You got to tell your spouse things.
NTA, yeah, there are some red flags here and you should definitely start looking out for yourself. And someone replied, this is financial infidelity. You trusted him with all the money and he went behind your back, then literally cried about it. He's not upset he did it. He's just very, very sorry he got caught and there will be consequences.
It does sound like tears of, oh no, I got caught. You can't just hide that amount of money. I'm just going to keep repeating that every time. You could not just hide that amount of money.
And I cannot get his reasoning. Like, I care about you. I want you to have the same things the same advantages I have. If I decided we should have separate accounts for our own personal fun money, I would make sure that they were even. You had the same as much as me and I had as much as you. That is how a good marriage works, I feel.
I don't know if OP would agree to it, but I bet she would be complaining a lot less if you put $1,000 into a bank account for her and $1,000 into a bank account for yourself.
Okay, OP replied to a comment with a little bit of an update. Someone asked, why did he say he did it? And OP replies, he said he didn't know, that he just wanted something that was only his in case anything went wrong. I asked him if he was willing to put it in the joint account so we could make it fairly distributed between us, so I have my own as well as him having his own, and he said he didn't think he was comfortable with that. So who knows? No money has been taken out of the account. He is just stashing a bunch of money away and still using our joint account, which has all of my money in it.
I don't understand his logic on any level. I don't understand his logic of how he thinks that the marriage is going to continue if he pulls this. I don't understand how he thinks he's legally going to be able to hide this amount of money from you.
Yeah, even if something goes wrong, this is still joint assets. It's not his just because he's hiding it.
He's not hiding it very well. He just transfers it over and hopes that you won't look at the bank statements.
The fact that he has the audacity to say he's not comfortable with fair distribution enrages me more than any internet stranger should be. What a completely selfish ass. That tells me all I need to know. He can be a stay-at-home parent if he feels it's that important, but you need to protect yourself. OP definitely, at minimum, needs to go back to work and start putting money in her own private account. Only put enough into the joint account to cover 50% or your share of the joint expenses.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to keep the relationship going, you at very least have to protect yourself and start moving money into your own account. And that involves getting a job and getting a daycare. You guys can afford a good daycare.
But personally, I think this is a divorce-worthy offense. I would never be able to trust my husband again if I knew that he was hiding something like this from me.
I would say you can work through it, but he seems very resistant to working through it.
He has no remorse.
The lack of remorse just makes him completely the problem in this situation.
He's like, I'm not sorry I did it, and there's nothing we need to fix. How do you work with that? How do you move forward?
You can't. He's just like, well, everything's in my favor right now, so I think we're good.
Yeah, get yourself a job ASAP and divorce your no good, selfish husband. Am I the asshole for still getting on a flight home when my 2 young coworkers I was traveling with weren't at the airport yet and were obviously going to miss it?
Ooh, I have so many questions before I can give an opinion. How young of a coworker? I'm hoping over 18, since they're coworkers, I would assume, but I don't know. Is it your fault they weren't at the airport yet? If I have to say something, so far not the asshole, but I feel like it's awfully easy to slip into asshole territory here.
This past week, I was presented with an industry award in Nashville that an agency partner nominated me for. I am a director at my company. My CEO decided to send 2 junior-level employees to the event as well because they thought it would be good experience for them. A specialist who has been with us for a little over a year, 25 female, first job out of college, and a summer intern, 21 female, rising senior. They are not on my team, they report up through a separate VP, and I have very limited / no interaction with them in daily work life. They were very excited to be going. This was going to be the specialist's first time on a plane. Lots of Teams chats asking what to wear, etc. We were flying in Thursday morning and leaving Friday evening, so it was a very short trip, but I tried to help share info about the event. Types of attendees, awards, reception / presentation Thursday night with a country western theme, and then I was speaking on a panel Friday morning. There's so much I could say, but I'll try to highlight the key points. The specialist barely made Thursday AM flight because she doesn't have a real ID and had to do extra screening. She had no idea what a real ID was or the basic rules of flying, liquid restrictions, etc. She was very upset that they made her throw away some of her skincare that was over 3 ounces.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's common knowledge even if you have never flown before, but go ahead.
Thursday night event was country western theme, and while a majority of the people there were in business casual...
This was an awards ceremony?
Yep, and like a speaking panel.
I've never been to an awards ceremony in advertising that had a theme.
It's in Nashville.
That might do it.
Okay. Thursday night event was country western theme, and while a majority of the people there were in business casual, intern shows up in a bandana tube top, micro skirt, cowboy boots, and a cowboy hat. I pulled her aside and asked if she wanted to run upstairs and change since it was still a business event, but she said she was fine and she thought she looked cute and on theme. After ceremony, I invite them to join me with some colleagues I knew from other companies in the hotel bar, but they tell me they want to go check out Broadway. I make a face and say that this would be a good networking opportunity. They make "come on, mom" jokes, so I tell them to be safe and remind them the time and location of the first sessions the next day.
I mean, you can't make them network, I guess. But yeah, that would be a good networking opportunity.
Yeah, right? They're there for work. They should be networking.
You're an intern. You should be looking for a job.
Yeah. Text them around 11 p.m. that I hope they got back safe. No response. Went to bed. Text them the next morning, offering to meet them for coffee before morning sessions. No response. No idea if they actually attended any sessions or saw my panel, but I did find them in the hotel lobby afterwards looking incredibly hungover.
It's good they're not dead.
Have about 2 hours after event is over before we need to go to the airport. I invite them to a late lunch with our agency partners. They decline because they want to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Again, make a face and say, I don't know if they will have time, and I think it would be a good opportunity for them to spend the time with our agency. They act like I'm a wet blanket, so I tell them I'm leaving for the airport from the hotel at 4 p.m. sharp and to meet me in the lobby so we can share a lift.
I think I'm more, at this point, I'm mad at these two for not doing business things while on this business trip.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be awfully mad at your CO?
For sending them with you?
For sending these 2 girls that obviously are not very mature in the business world here.
Why did you saddle me with these 2 children?
Yes. You're gonna make us look bad at this event.
Yeah, I would also be mad at the CO for not prepping these girls on what is appropriate behavior.
Apparently they needed some prepping. Yeah, like the intern, I would assume by default that an intern might need like a, hey, here's what happens at these events.
Mm-hmm.
The specialist is a little more
She's 25.
She's
been working there a
25.
year.
She has a job.
Mm-hmm.
I know she's just starting out, but you're a little more on your own hook there. An intern, you expect them to need a little hand-holding.
Text them at 3:45 p.m. that Lyft is arriving in 15 minutes. No response. Text them that Lyft has arrived and I'm leaving for the airport. No response. Text them when I get to the airport and tell them security line is long. Neither had pre-check. No response.
Why didn't you knock on their door?
They weren't there. They went to Nashville Hall of Fame.
Oh, right. That's crazy. Okay.
She's like, okay,
what can you do?
I don't think you have time for that, but okay, make sure you're back here at 4 because we're leaving. Text them when I get to the gate to please give me some sign of life. Intern sends very short response about 10 minutes later. In Lyft, there's traffic. Nothing else.
Oh boy, this is stressing me out.
Text them that flight is starting to board. No response. Text them when I'm in my seat that boarding is about to end. No response. Doors closed. They don't make it. Put my phone in airplane mode.
This is really stressing me out. I don't know what I would have done different so far.
Land a couple hours later to a barrage of texts from them. They're stranded in Nashville, don't know what to do, how to rebook, who to call for help, etc. I also have an angry voicemail from Specialist's mom that I abandoned her daughter in Nashville. She has never flown and has anxiety. She's having a panic attack at the airport and needs medical attention.
Your daughter is 25.
She could be human trafficked. I call Specialist and intern back. Both phones ring, but neither pick up.
Oh my God.
Text to see if they were able to rebook. No response. Forward them email with our business travel info with after hours contact and text them that I sent the email. No response. Texted an hour or so later to see if they were okay. No response. I did not call the mom back.
To what extent do you have to help them here?
Also have text from their director. I don't know her well, just started with CO a couple weeks ago, asking what's going on. I sent her a brief overview and screenshots of all my unanswered texts to them from earlier in the day, along with the transcript of the voicemail I got from the mom. She acknowledges my response, but no further dialogue. Now I get an invite for a Monday morning meeting from that director with their VP and our C-suite leader. My VP is on PTO. I feel like these are adults, I was communicative, and I'm ultimately not responsible for their decisions. But you tell me, am I the asshole here?
I would be so mad if, like, entry-level people, like an entry-level person and an intern just pissed off on a work trip to go see touristy things. You get, like, one thing. On a 2-day trip, like, it sounds like you really didn't have time.
Yeah.
Usually when I do work trips, it's like we get there like the day before and you maybe have like an afternoon before we have to go and rub elbows with the clients. And then you're on the clock. You're being paid.
Yeah.
The only situation where I think that you might have been a little bit of the asshole is that you didn't put your foot down and say, no, you need to come to these things. This is what you're here for as the senior person there.
Yeah, I was like, but she's not technically in charge of these people. She doesn't work with them at all, really.
I feel like you were put in charge of them from a work perspective, at least. But also, they're 21 and 25. They can make their own decisions, and they can have their own consequences. No, I gotta say, not the asshole from what I've learned so far. Is there an update?
There is an update.
Okay, so
there's 2 updates.
Okay, well, from the initial post, I don't think you were the asshole. It sounds like you did a lot of trying to hold their hands. I just feel like maybe you were too gentle.
One of the comments. I think OP went incredibly above and beyond here, considering that it was a work event she was receiving an award at. So to have these junior idiots causing any type of fuss was really an unnecessary hassle for her when it should have been a personal celebration. OP replies to that and says, okay, thank you so much for saying this because I took it out of my main post since it was so long already. But I made a short acceptance speech after getting the award. I worked really hard on it and practiced a lot. It was only like 90 seconds, but I asked Specialist and intern to film it for me because I wanted to share it with my team members who helped me with it. Left my phone with them and everything, but they forgot, and that kind of upset me. It's obviously not the end of the world, but like, come on.
Oh my God. I didn't even consider the part that you were getting an award. I like everything else deleted that from my brain. You got an award and you gave a speech the next morning. Like you did a seminar. You are obviously very honored during this event.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to be able to go to an industry event and walk up there and give like that little acceptance speech. Usually, your CEO steals it from you.
That's true.
So it's amazing that you got to go up there and give the speech.
But they were just too lazy to remember to record it for her.
That might have been the whole reason they got sent.
Yeah, right?
Like, you send the social media. I have done that where, like, the CEOs go into the event, and you're like, okay, it would be a good opportunity for this entry-level person to go with you, and they're going to film things for our social. You know, it's a good chance for them to get, like, in on an actual event.
Yeah, but then also they come back with footage that the company can use to be like, hey, look how cool we are on social media.
Right?
Yeah, so they didn't even do that.
I'm so mad at the two of them.
Someone comments about how weird it is to send an intern to an event like that, and she says that it's a very competitive intern program, and like they do things like this. Every intern gets to go on at least one business trip to help give them experience.
Yeah, that is one of those things where, like, when I've had interns, I'd be like, I want to send the intern over on this photo shoot. I want to send them over there. Record, like, shots of the cameraman as he takes the good photos for our social. It gives them something to do, and it lets them kind of shadow the actual industry professionals.
Yeah, give them a little bit of experience.
Which is why you can't go to the Hall of Fame.
Or come down wearing a tube top and a micro skirt to a business event.
It sounds like that was not appropriate for this business event, yes.
No. Someone says, I confess I was not expecting this to be a really competitive internship program, since in my experience with very competitive programs of this time, students who end up winning spots are sharp enough to notice when they're committing a faux pas, and quick to drop a behavior that they realize won't benefit them professionally. So yeah, like, what is the intern thinking? Well, what is either of them thinking, really?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Most interns are trying to, like, impress you so that you'll hire them in a year when they graduate.
Here's my update after my meeting this morning. Meeting over, CMO didn't join. It was other VP and director plus the internship coordinator who is in HR. VP asked all the questions. It was over Teams, on camera, recorded, almost comically formal, like I was being deposed or something. During the meeting, I was asked to recap what happened, starting from when we arrived. I was prepared, had all of my key points, kept it factual on my actions, no speculation on their actions. I shared my phone screen live, went through the text messages with timestamps and the voicemail from the specialist's mom. I was asked if I had requested or encouraged specialist to put any expenses on her P card, like her company credit card. This question took me by surprise. I said I didn't even ask or consider that she had a P card, and besides the lift from airport to hotel, which I scheduled and paid for, I was never outside of the hotel/official conference activities with either specialist or intern that would have required any sort of payment. I did say I would consider it to be her line manager's responsibility to make sure she understood our travel and expense policies prior to traveling.
Yes, that's one of those pain in the butt things about traveling to these, but it's just part of the business, is you got to understand what your food allowance is, what your travel allowance is for Ubers, where you bill those. Usually, I've always done it. I put it on my personal credit card, and then I invoice the company.
Yeah, save receipts and be like, this is what I spent on this.
Yes.
You know.
I've never actually had a business credit card.
Well, it sounds like Specialist was charging all sorts of things to that credit card and tried to blame it on OP.
It's crazy to me that you gave the 25-year-old entry-level person a credit card, but sure.
Yeah. I was asked if at any point I had reached out to anyone at the office about anything that was transpiring, to which I said no. I certainly intended to when I returned, but we are talking about everything that happened within a 32-ish hour window, all while I was trying to focus on what I was sent there to do. Participate as a panel member at the conference, attend other presentations, take advantage of face-to-face time with our agency, and accepting my award. I said I felt it was reasonable to believe any other attendees would have expectations of participation and outcomes set by their leadership team, especially when coming from another department where I wouldn't be knowledgeable about their goals and objectives. Similarly, if there were different expectations of me based on other co-attendees, I would expect that to be clearly communicated in advance. She's like, nobody told me I was in charge of them.
No, it sounds like no. It's super weird that you would be expected to babysit to that extent. Usually you expect them to be,
They're adults.
They're adults, and they're here to learn or experience something for the first time. They're going to follow you around. That's just what I expect.
Yeah. I'm under the impression that they're meeting with specialists and interns separately, but my meeting was first. After the meeting, I debriefed with a trusted colleague who shared the following from Friday water cooler chats. I definitely offended an intern by pulling her aside about her outfit. She posted it to Snapchat with a caption about it, and some other intern's employees saw it. Dying to know exactly what it said, but coworker said everyone who did see it agreed that it was inappropriate for a work event. Allegedly, specialist mom had once called previous director, who left, director in meeting replaced him, about specialist's working hours. It's known that several months ago, specialist was pulled off a high-profile project team. Apparently, when she was asked to put in some evening and weekend hours to meet a deadline, mom called director and complained. I don't know if I believe this to be true, but mom stepping in could be a pattern. You're 25, what are you doing having your mom call your boss? Final update. It's very long, so I'm not reading all of it, but OP was doxxed. Like, people on the internet found out who she was.
Oh, from her Reddit post?
From her Reddit post. While I received many incorrect guesses at my true identity, there were a couple that were correct. And holy shit, is that scary. I don't know what compels a person to go to such lengths to try and figure out who a random internet poster is, but maybe don't spend your time doing that.
That's creepy, yeah.
I'm just an elder millennial trying to navigate imposter syndrome in corporate America, pay my bills, and generally be a good person so one day I can hopefully retire and rescue a borderline concerning number of geriatric Pomeranians. Very unworthy of your CIA caliber sleuthing. Some people at work have seen her post. She is slightly regretting posting it because she didn't think anybody would see it.
You were very candid in your post.
Okay. Will specialist and or intern be fired? To my knowledge, they are both still employed, although today is the official last day for the entire summer intern cohort. I know how I would handle one of my team members if they did this, but I trust they would never, ever, ever because they're sensible and smart and amazing and probably reading this. But for these two, it's not up for me to decide. And while I take full accountability for bringing all this on myself, I'm at a point where I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative within my actual workplace. So she's like, I'm done with this. This is too much.
No point in firing the intern if they're going away.
Yeah, but what do you do about that specialist who is charging things to the company credit card?
Ooh, it depends on a lot of things, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the final update is there's not really any update except people on the internet found out who she was and people at work saw the story and she is having regrets about posting and their internship program is over for the summer and she doesn't know what they're doing with the specialist. So that's pretty much the final update.
It's so rare to have an intern that doesn't just follow you around like a lost duckling.
Mm-hmm.
When it's their first internship.
We have interns at my work usually like one a summer and yeah, they just follow you around like a lost duckling. I don't know, but sending them on business trips is weird to me.
It does make sense at a big company that has the resources because I've sent them on like photo shoots.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that weird, but you expect them to be professional. Yes.
I feel like a specialist, the 25-year-old specialist that's worked there for a year, has some issues with professionalism because she's having her mom call her boss and complain about her work hours and stuff and thinks that this is okay behavior. And I think that she is rubbing off on the intern probably. And the intern's like, well, she's doing it. This must be okay behavior.
Maybe. I don't know if anywhere in that story it was said that she had mom call.
But she let her mom call.
Well, she maybe can't stop mom from calling.
Oh, maybe. It's when you just don't give your mom anybody's contact information.
Maybe that's part of it right there, is that mom's such a helicopter parent that once this was her first chance to not be helicoptered, and she did that thing that we all get out of our system in college where we partied too hard.
Go rogue.
Yep. Ate a whole pack of Oreos.
That's me. I went to college and ate a whole pack of Oreos. I tried. I did not actually complete it. I couldn't even live out my dreams. I was getting ill, and I had to stop at 2/3 of a package of Oreos consumed.
You're so lame.
Same with, I was like, I'm going to eat a whole tub of Cool Whip. Oh, don't do that. Oh, no, that is bad. That gives you an upset tummy.
Everyone else's college rebellion story is like, I drank half a thing of whiskey and I just threw up a bunch and now I can't drink whiskey anymore.
Nope, mine was half a tub of Cool Whip. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I'm going to a hotel by myself if he wants to host a New Year's Eve party?
I really feel like hosting a party needs to be a decision you make as a couple and both agree to.
My husband and I are in our late 40s. We have a fairly large home, which makes it easy to host parties. Also, my husband loves entertaining guests.
Okay, so this is not like a first offense.
Here is the hell that I went through the last 4 days. Friday, our daughter had her Friendmas celebration. It wasn't many people, but 8 wine-drunk 19 to 20-year-olds make the noise of about 40 people. Saturday, Christmas with my father-in-law's family. My husband's parents are divorced. They're a big family and love to drink. We had spills, kids having uh-ohs, and some belligerent aunts and cousins. We didn't even cook for this because it was like 30 people. We catered beef sandwiches, but with cleanup, it was still a lot of work.
Okay, so you are the party house.
Sunday, Christmas Eve. By the time we finally cleaned the house, we had to get ready for Christmas with mother-in-law's family. They're a smaller and tamer bunch, but we did all the cooking. Fillets and prime rib, polenta with braised beef, homemade pizzas, and some vegetables and salad. Cooking took forever. There's also a lot of little kids on this side of the family because he had some cousins come with small kids.
God, that sounds like such a pain in the ass to do all that by yourself. Like, it sounds like your husband enjoys hosting and puts in way too much effort.
But we're not done yet. Monday, Christmas Day. My family came over and we cooked. It's a smaller bunch, just my parents, my brother, and his family, but we still did all the cooking.
Wow, so none of the family members help with anything, it sounds like.
I am gassed. I'm ready to hibernate for a month. This morning, my husband said we should just do New Year's for our neighbors, who we usually get together with. I straight up told him I will go to a hotel if he insists on that, and I won't return until the house is clean. He thinks I'm being dramatic and that it wasn't that much work, but it really was. I know he likes to entertain more than me, and I don't want to sound like a party pooper, but I'm really done. Am I the asshole?
Okay, well, I feel like there's a lot to unpack here, but I mean, you're obviously not the asshole if you're partied out after hosting 4 times in 4 days. That's crazy. First question. Is your husband just now inviting people to a New Year's party after Christmas and not like a couple weeks before?
Yeah, that does seem pretty close. A lot of people probably already made New Year's Eve plans because they're like, well, so-and-so didn't invite us, so I guess we need to find some other New Year's plans.
Although you are the primary party house, so maybe they all just plan on turning up at your house on New Year's no matter what.
Maybe they just assume you're hosting.
Question 2. Is your husband helping with all this cooking?
That's the top comment. I note that you say, we cooked and we cleaned the house. I'm just wondering what we means in this context. Was hubby right there shoulder to shoulder with you, shopping, chopping vegetables, basting meat, and vacuuming and dusting and loading the dishwasher and putting stuff away? Or not? Did your daughter make an appropriate contribution to the preparations and post-purations for her party? Post-purations? That's a new word I haven't heard.
Yeah, because hosting is a lot of fun when you don't have to do anything.
If, as I suspect, you did the lion's share of the work and your husband played host, I strongly urge you to go to the hotel. Let him have his party. He can run it however he sees fit, and he can do the cleaning up.
Yeah, maybe stay at the hotel for a few extra days so he has plenty of time to do all that cleaning.
Oh, she said she's not coming home until it's cleaned.
Oh, good. I missed that part. Smart, OP.
Reddit is strongly NTA. NTA, I don't blame you. I'd be so done with parties if I were in your shoes. NTA, I'm exhausted just reading your description.
I'm sorry. Did OP not respond to let us know if husband is helping?
No.
Because that is critical information. But also, no, you're not the asshole. I am also exhausted just hearing about that. I want to host people at our house maybe once a year. Like, we just did a bunch of Christmas prep. We didn't even host, but we had to, like, bake cookies. And then we had to bake another set of cookies for a different family. And
wrap presents
and buy the presents and, like, get ahead on housework and everything so that it's not a disaster when we return from going to people's houses. There's so much work to do when you're just not hosting. So to host 4 in a row? Come on.
Another comment. Even if they split all the labor 50-50 and she feels overwhelmed and tired, she's allowed to say, I don't want to do this again in the near future.
Absolutely, it's your house too. If you don't want to have a party, he can't just overrule you.
And then a lot of other comments are along the lines of, NTA, if husband thinks it's not that much work, he should have no problem doing it himself.
Yeah, I mean, maybe OP just doesn't want to attend another party, but she also has the option of saying, hey, I'm not going to help at all. I'm just going to be a guest.
I feel like she'd still get roped into helping with things because she'd be embarrassed about, how her house looked if she was there present at the party. And she'd be like, you cannot have people over with the toilets looking like this. Give me that scrub brush.
That's a good point. OP and her husband likely have very different standards for what is okay to host a party in.
So I really do think if he is set on having a party, a hotel might be the best option for her. Just absent herself completely.
And husband might then learn what it takes to host a party on his own, and maybe he'll learn a lesson for the future. I hate how mean my wife is.
Okay, if she's mean, that's understandable. Maybe divorce her.
This is from R off my chest, by the way.
Okay.
I hate how mean my wife is. I feel close to my breaking point as I've reached a new low in our relationship. I contracted COVID for the first time. I've spent the last 2 days quarantined in the corner of the house. I'm pretty miserable, and it's made worse by my wife's lack of empathy. She made sure that when she made lunch yesterday for the kids, she didn't make me anything. She has asked how I feel 0 times, offered 0 support, and only made comments in passing about how pissed she'll be if I infect anyone else.
Okay, that is a little rude.
I honestly can't fathom how she could hate me so much. At least my daughter asked me how I was feeling.
Okay, my only way the wife is not the asshole in this is if he is constantly sick and always has a man cold and is like, oh, baby me, because I'm so sick all the time. That would get on your nerves, and eventually you'd be like, dude, deal with it yourself. You can't be doing this all the time. I don't need a third child. But COVID is rough. I feel like this is the time when he actually is really sick and he needs someone to take care of him. But also, like, not take care of him, but just, here's some food from a distance because you don't want to catch that.
Right. Yeah, COVID is rough. All right, top comment from his wife.
Ooh.
See, this is why you can't believe everything you read on Reddit. This came across my feed randomly, by the way. Did you tell everyone how you got COVID? We have 2 kids. One was a medically fragile preemie and is not yet a year old. On my husband's 3rd work trip in November, I spent the night in the ER with the baby after frantically looking for childcare for the older kid. I say work trip because it was more of a team bonding trip full of fun activities and trips to restaurants. After that traumatic experience, I said no more work travel until the baby was 2. I was told I'm being sent to New York, which led me to believe it was a mandatory work trip having to do with his promotion. He wanted to fly out the day before Mother's Day, and I had to remind him it was Mother's Day. He ended up flying across the country for this trip, Tuesday through Friday, while I stayed home with the kids. I found out this wasn't a mandatory work trip when he was asking if I wanted a souvenir from the Met in the middle of a workday.
Oh.
He caught COVID in New York. So I was a solo parent from Tuesday through Friday, had half a day of help before dealing with a sick husband, and now I'm solo parenting again while trying to keep myself and the kids, including my ex-preemie, healthy. I made lunch for myself and the kids because I'm spread thin and at my own breaking point with how exhausted and run down I am. I didn't get a thank you for staying home alone with the kids for his work trip until Sunday after bringing up the lack of acknowledgement multiple times. I am sleeping on the couch so he can have the bed and quarantine in our bedroom. I went to a school fundraiser with our daughter Saturday evening before we knew it was COVID, and I received angry texts because I didn't reply immediately to his request for me to stop to get him Sudafed on my way home, which I did, by the way. We've done couples therapy in the past, nothing changes. I was stupid and didn't protect myself financially before becoming a stay-at-home mom and becoming entirely dependent on my husband. I have PTSD from my pregnancy, IVF, hospitalization followed by a premature labor, nearly 3 months NICU stay. This time last year, when I had to be hospitalized, our oldest got COVID and we were not allowed to visit the baby for the first 2 weeks of her life. So
Ooh.
yeah, COVID is a big deal to me, and I'm doing everything I can to keep myself and the kids safe. But I'm mean, so I guess none of that matters.
Yeah, now I'm on the wife's side. You can't just, like, ditch your family and your responsibilities to go do fun stuff and be like, it's a work trip. And it's not. You're goofing off, and you just, that makes me mad. I'm really mad at guys who, like, want to have kids and have a family and then don't step up and take responsibility and think that they can still live the life that they had before they had kids. You know, I'm like, no, you got kids now, you're a dad now. You need to stay home and take care of them. You need to be a partner to your wife instead of pushing all the work off on her.
It's not that unreasonable not to be able to go on work trips until your kid has a better immune system.
Yeah, especially like with the preemie care and you know, she had some trauma she went through not being able to see her newborn preemie baby for 2 weeks because of COVID and stuff. And then you're just like, I'm mad at this guy. His family is not in good health, and he's just ditching them and going out and catching COVID, doing stuff he shouldn't be doing. But it is not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be when the wife came on and said you didn't get the full story. I was like, was he cheating? He was out cheating somewhere.
Right.
And his mistress gave him COVID. So not quite that bad, but like...
Still bad.
Still bad.
Yeah. Reddit very strongly agrees that, I mean, this isn't an Am I the Asshole thread, but yeah. Reddit's calling him an asshole anyways.
My wife is so mean. She won't let me go on vacations alone.
Everyone read her top comment. I think someone in your relationship is at their breaking point, and it's not you, buddy. Where was your empathy when you were skipping around New York having child-free fun while she stayed at home with 2 young children?
When does she get to go on a vacation like that by herself without the kids?
She's a stay-at-home mom, so obviously she doesn't get vacations.
Yeah.
Wife replied to this comment. Oh, I forgot to add. In the 6 years we've been parents, I have been away overnight just 2 nights. One was when he told our daughter that mommy didn't care about her, and I went to stay in a hotel that night. The other was this past February when I went to an event with a friend. He will not let me forget that he had to solo parent for 2 days and 1 night so I could go have fun in February.
Oh no, that's so hard, taking care of his own children, poor baby.
Yeah, and the other time she had to go stay at a hotel because she was so mad that he told their daughter that she doesn't like her.
Yeah, like why would he say that?
And then, several people replied to that being like, you might need to run. And she replied, honestly, I might have been fine just sticking my head in the sand like I always do, but this post scares me. He has no problem twisting things around and believing them, and that frightens me. Who knows what he's capable of making up in order to make me the bad guy? In March, he told me I was abusive in front of our 6-year-old, and I kicked him out for a night. She went and told all of the adults at school that Dad called Mom a bad word, and he had to go to a hotel. It was mortifying seeing anyone at her school after that. And then he came home and cried that I was keeping his children away from him.
He doesn't even want the children. He couldn't handle 2 days and 1 night with them.
This post might have been the final push I needed.
Yeah, I really feel for a lot of women who are not financially independent enough that they feel that they can't divorce their husbands, That's rough.
Yeah, that does suck. But all of their tea has been spilled.
Also, the 6-year-old going to school and saying that kids are just too honest.
Yeah. Yep.
Oversharing.
And then the pinned comment at the top of the post is from a mod, OP. Since this is a support sub, and no one in their right mind can support your stance, I'm closing the thread. Count your blessings.
Am I overreacting for letting my daughter skip a wedding because she wasn't included?
I mean, your daughter doesn't have to attend a wedding if she doesn't want to. I don't know why you would be the asshole for letting her skip it.
I, 42 female, have 2 kids. Lainey, 12 female, and Matt, 9 male. My brother, 37 male, is getting married next month. He asked my 9-year-old son to be a ring bearer and included my 3 nephews as ushers, 12 male, 15 male, and 16 male. My 12-year-old Lainey wasn't asked to be anything. For context, she's the only girl cousin in the family and already struggles with feeling left out. She also hit a growth spurt and is already feeling awkward about her height and being a tween. When she realized she was the only cousin without a role, she took it really hard. She cried multiple times and told me she was sick of being the only girl and always being left out.
Okay, your brother's a complete asshole. As an uncle, and you're an aunt, we made sure every single one of the kids had a role in our wedding.
Yeah, all of our nieces and nephews were in the weddings, and like there's 4 of them, but they all had a role. Like 2 of them were ring bearers, and then the youngest one was the flower girl, and then she had an escort to help her down the aisle because she was very small, only like less than 2 years old, I think. So all our nieces and nephews had a big role in our wedding and walked down the aisle in front of me.
I can't imagine being in a family where they think it's okay to exclude just one kid.
Yes, purposefully excluding just one single person.
And we haven't heard the full story yet, but this seems like a scenario that OP needs to be screaming at her brother over. Like, if he's going to exclude one of your kids, then the other kid's not coming to the wedding. I'm not coming to the wedding. Like, this is a scenario where it's okay to overreact.
I talked to my brother and gently asked if there was any small role she could do, even handing out programs or helping seat people. Just something so she didn't feel singled out. He said no, that they didn't want to add anything last minute and the wedding party was already set.
I feel like OP maybe didn't ask firmly enough, or tell him, hey, you need to do this for the sake of your niece.
She's crying. You've made her cry. If I found out that any of my nieces or nephews were crying because of something I did, I would do everything in my power to rectify that, right?
Right. Like,
unless it's like something super unreasonable and they're just being a spoiled brat. But I feel like this isn't that. I mean, is anyone entitled to a place in a wedding? No, but when she is the only one excluded, that seems like a really big statement, and that's very big asshole behavior on the brother's part.
yes, I think that's a clear statement, and as her parent and the groom's brother, you have a lot of authority and obligation to yell at him.
After that conversation, my daughter told me she didn't want to go. She said watching all the cousins walk down the aisle while she sat there like nothing would make her feel even worse. She was crying and clearly overwhelmed, especially when we were trying to find an outfit for her to wear. I'm thinking about letting her skip the wedding and let her spend the weekend at a friend's house. My husband agrees with me because the other option is having a teen who is glaring death daggers at the photographer during the ceremony or playing on her Switch during the reception and looks like she clearly doesn't want to be there.
Well, that is just a lot of teens at weddings, but in this case, it's justified.
Unfortunately, now some family members are mad. My mom, brother, and other relatives think I let her throw a tantrum to get out of something and say I should tell her to suck it up because kids don't get to skip weddings just because they didn't get attention. My mom said I'm going to embarrass my brother by having one of my kids missing in family photos.
You know it's going to embarrass your brother even more when you do the right thing and have none of your kids or you or your husband there. This is not a scenario where the other three of you go.
I personally feel like forcing her to go when she is heartbroken would have made things worse, and I didn't want her sitting there crying through the ceremony. But now I'm second-guessing my choice, so here I am. Would I be overreacting for letting my daughter skip the wedding after she was left out of any role and was really hurt by it?
I would say the opposite and that you're underreacting. I would be so mad if one of our nieces or nephews was left out of a family wedding this purposefully. Like, if they had maybe one or two of the nieces and nephews doing, like, the ring bearer and the flower girl thing, but there's several that aren't involved, then, yeah, she's got to suck it up. If there's one, just one, and it's the only girl that he's leaving out, no, your brother's a bad person, and you should not attend his wedding.
God forbid the preteen daughter of all people be pissed off about a legitimate snub. OP's brother can go to hell. That is also, like, a really sensitive age.
Yeah.
12? Oh my goodness. And like hormones are kicking in. Everything is the end of the world. This is not a good time to upset them.
No, that's a time to make sure that they know that they're accepted and that their family is always on their side.
Boost their self-esteem a little, right?
Yeah, you're adults. You've all been through it. You can be subtle about it, but you really got to support the kids and make sure they have a healthy mental attitude as they grow up.
Not overreacting wouldn't really be complicated for them to include her. They chose not to.
They absolutely chose not to. I don't know how many of the brides, like nieces and nephews, are involved in this, but it sounds like there's no flower girl. Like 12 is still a good age to be a flower girl.
I feel like at a lot of weddings I've been to, once they hit like that preteen stage, they make them junior bridesmaids.
Do they? I've never heard of junior bridesmaid. Is that just like a title you give them because they're too cool to be a flower girl?
It's usually like they're too young to like actually participate and be a bridesmaid and like fulfill the bridesmaid duties, but they're family and you want them standing up there with you. So they're like a bridesmaid with no duties really except to just stand there.
But at those weddings, is there like a younger cousin who is the flower girl?
Yeah, usually.
So if the role is open, she seems like a shoo-in for it.
Mm-hmm. Not overreacting, but really if my child was singled out, I don't know if I'd be so happy to attend myself. Your family only cares about appearances, so make the photos more uncomfortable for them by not being in them either. That person agrees with you.
I know all of our siblings are already married off and older than us, so they were married off before our wedding anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But if any of them was snubbing one of the kids to this extent, I feel like we would be very justified to go beat them up. There's a point in every family where you're allowed to go and beat up your siblings. Sometimes siblings just need to knock sense into each other. You're like one of the very few selection of people who has the ability to do that.
Not overreacting, she's old enough to decide if she wants to attend an event. She's been snubbed and she's valid in her feelings. If she doesn't want to go, you should not force her to go. If her attendance was important, they would have ensured that she felt included and wanted. Personally, I probably wouldn't allow my son to be in the wedding and would just skip it. Not because they didn't include her, but because they are making an issue that she doesn't want to attend.
It seems to me like even if you think it's okay for her to be left out of that one role, the fact that the whole family is then trying to disregard her feelings and force her to attend the wedding is just a good reason to just snub this wedding as a family. I think no matter what you decide, you have to do it as a family. Like, you have to show your daughter support because your extended family is not. And you should really be prioritizing your daughter over your brother. Am I the asshole for not tipping a waitress on a $300 plus tab?
Yes. Tip your waitresses. Okay, but how horrible was this waitress? Because you know she was bad if you didn't tip.
Right, if you didn't tip and posted about it on Reddit.
Yeah, she was awful. What did she do?
Something happened, right? The other day, my friend's girlfriend broke up with him, so the boys and I decided to take him to a club to cheer him up. I was the last to arrive, and they had already gotten a table and were all drinking alcohol. When the waitress came up to me and asked what I wanted to drink, I couldn't have alcohol because of the medicine I'm on, so I ordered a Sprite. She gave me an awkward smile and said okay. 10 minutes went by, and I still hadn't received my Sprite. However, she came back, asked my friends at the same table if they wanted another round. They all said yes, and then they ordered shots as well. I reminded her about my Sprite, and she nodded and left. She then brought all the alcohol and shots back out for my friends, but still no Sprite. About 10 to 20 minutes later, she returned and asked how we were doing. Everyone said they were fine, and I said I still hadn't got my Sprite yet. She nodded again, but didn't even walk back to the bar. Instead, she started talking to another girl. After waiting an additional 10 or so minutes, I decided to go to the bar myself and get a Sprite and a water. I paid the bartender, left a tip, and went back to the table.
She just really does not want to give you your Sprite.
Right?
What does she have against non-alcoholic drinks?
I don't know, because usually you treat the designated driver kind of nicely at bars.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I don't have to deal with these drunks when it's time for them to go.
You are being in charge of all your drunk friends. Good for you. Yeah. I'm going to treat you nice.
A lot of clubs give you like that nice little wristband and don't even charge you for the Sprite.
Do they? I haven't been to a lot of bars, I guess. 'Cause I'm not a big drinker.
Yeah, like not all of them, but like nightclubs and stuff, like they want a designated driver there so they're not liable for drunk people. So if you get that little designated driver bracelet, like you don't get any alcohol because of the bracelet, but a lot of times they're like, yeah, the Sprite's free.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But he's way more patient than me. I would have gone to the bar a lot sooner and gotten my Sprite. Sounds like he's like been almost an hour now. He kept waiting 10 minutes and waiting 20 minutes and waiting 10 minutes and... it's been like an hour. I would have gone and got my own Sprite at the bar, because this waitress obviously is not going to bring it.
We hung out for another few hours, my friends drinking a lot of alcohol and eating hors d'oeuvres. When we were ready to leave, she brought our checks and gave me one for the Sprite she never brought. I told her, you never gave me the Sprite, I got it from the bar. She responded, oh, the bar transferred it to me, and I replied, no, I paid the bar. She said okay and took the check away. I don't know why I was so upset about the Sprite. It's just a Sprite. But my friends were also upset that I was being treated that way. So they all paid their tabs, left no tip, and wrote on the checks, "You should have brought my friend a Sprite." I think it's messed up not to leave tips, and I would have told them not to do that if they had let me know in advance, because people rely on that money for their livelihoods.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't like being discriminated against because I can't drink alcohol due to my medications. Do you think we were being assholes for not leaving a tip?
I don't think you were an asshole. I think your friends were a little bit of an assholes, but you can't control that. I mean, he didn't know that they did that until later, so he couldn't tell them not to. Anyways, but I think his friends should have tipped because they got decent service from the waitress, even if they only tipped like 10% and like docked her tip a little bit because she didn't give Sprite to your friend. But I think they should have tipped something. Does that make sense?
I get where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're rude to one person in my party,
Yeah.
I don't owe you anything, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, if we were all on one bill,
Uh-huh.
and one person in our group didn't get their thing and the waitress just kept ignoring them, I don't know if I would tip. There have been like 2 or 3 times in my entire life that I have gotten such bad service that I have not left a tip. Like, you've really got to be a bad waitress or waiter to not get a tip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the worst waiter I've ever had,
Mm-hmm.
I was on the first date with this girl, and he just kept making jokes at my expense.
Ooh.
And, like, even the girl...
He liked your girlfriend.
Maybe. Because even the girl kept giving him looks like, why is this guy
Picking on you.
picking on me? And I'm like, I'm trying to be polite and just laugh it off and make him go away.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, no, I didn't leave him a tip because I didn't get a second date, for one.
Yeah, you can't make fun of your customers and then expect to get a tip. That's a good point.
I feel like this is also just really bad service. It's like, does she not want a tip? Or maybe she's thinking like, oh, he's ordering a Sprite. 30% of that is going to be like less than $1.
30%?
I don't know.
Okay, I was like, I usually tip 20%.
Okay, well, any percent is going to be less than $1, so he's not worth my time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It is why she wasn't doing it, because she could make more money bringing alcohol to other people. Because alcohol costs more, you get a bigger tip. That's kind of why I thought she was ignoring him.
Which is probably the case. So I would say your friends are a little justified standing up for you because you don't have that tipping power that they do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of agree with that. But I always feel like if the service was bad, I tip 10% instead of my standard 20. If the service was great, I tip 25%. But like, I don't think I've ever not left a tip at all. I don't think I've ever had service that bad.
I think that my scale will go down to 0, but there is you really got to be bad, right?
Yeah. Unless you have, I think it'd be you insulted me and extremely offended me.
Yeah.
I don't tip you, but I've never had that happen. So.
I mean, if you're at like a restaurant and the waitress just doesn't bring your food, you just walk out. It's not like you wait around and pay or leave a tip. You don't slap down a tip and then not pay for the food you didn't get. You just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like your buddies had your back. I'm not generally okay with, stiffing servers. I feel like she deserved this.
Maybe it will teach her a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Top comment. Not the asshole. I've worked as a bartender, waitress, and a barista. That kind of behavior doesn't just deserve a no tip, it also deserves a call to the bar owner to let them know why the waitress didn't get a tip.
That's a good point. That is something you maybe should complain to the manager about.
Right? You got such bad service. Are you going to go back to that club?
Nope.
I don't know. Your friends seem to be having a good time.
Yeah.
Not the asshole. I've been a bartender and a waitress. This service deserves no tip. Soft drinks and water take less than 10 seconds to make.
It is super easy.
It really is. You just push the button on the wand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not hard. And then someone replied to that. It's pure profit. Plus, designated drivers are a thing. Some places give them soft drinks for free, or at least they did decades ago when I used to go out. Not the asshole. Same for me.
Yeah. Do they still do that? Don't know. Haven't been out in about 10 years.
I don't go out drinking much anymore.
Not to clubs anyways.
Yeah, I don't go to clubs. I go to bars.
Yeah, it's usually like a brewery.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's from Petty Revenge, and it's titled Just Desserts.
Okay, sounds good.
For over 20 years, I've hosted holidays at my place. My sister and her family moved out of state, but are close enough to come back for each holiday. Sounds great, right? Well, not so much. Sister and her family always go to her in-laws' place for the big meal, and since her mother-in-law is not a great cook, they just pick at the food and then invade my place for leftovers, aka the entire meal afterwards.
Sounds like your sister's good at strategy.
Now, you're probably thinking, what's the big deal, right? Well, the big deal is that it's gotten to the point my recipe for mashed potatoes starts with a 10-pound bag of potatoes, the turkey barely fits in the oven, the sides take up the entire counter, and I use an entire quart of cream just for desserts. It's a huge undertaking, and not only does sister not contribute financially, she never even has the decency to let me know whether they are coming or when.
I mean, you definitely know whether she's coming. It sounds like yes.
Yeah, I want to know, has she ever not come and then you're stuck with all this food left over? No, I think it sounds like she just comes every year, but she's like, oh no, we're eating at mother-in-law's, and then just shows up and devours all your food though.
Yeah, it sounds like she shows up possibly with a few teenagers that eat all of your food.
And I do get it's kind of annoying not knowing when they're going to show up to devour all your food.
I guess so, but I have been to plenty of family gatherings where it's just like, turn up when you can for Thanksgiving. It's just on the table. You might have to reheat it in the microwave.
Yeah, me too. This year I texted the family that my kids were going to make the meal for just us, and if anyone wanted to join us afterwards, I'd have dessert and only dessert to share. As usual, I got a text from everyone else, but nothing from sister. Rather than trying to chase her down, I assumed she had gotten the message and went on with my plans. The time comes and the kids put on a lovely meal. We eat and enjoy ourselves and then pack up the leftovers. A few families showed up over the next hour and we chatted happily. Then it happens. The car's pulling into the driveway. Sister's family has arrived. They invade in usual style, going around and giving quick hugs before heading for the kitchen. It took less than 30 seconds before she's out, trying to be polite since there are still others there, to ask where the food is.
It does kind of sound like OP is holding one hell of a grudge over people eating her food at Thanksgiving. Does she just really like Thanksgiving leftovers and she doesn't get enough?
She's just mad that sister doesn't contribute at all to the Thanksgiving meal, just shows up and eats and leaves.
And is not grateful about it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I asked, aren't the pies on the counter? The bread pudding is in the crock pot. The sauce is on the stove. She asked, yes, but where's the food? At this point, the others are starting to catch on to what's up and trading glances. Me. I told everyone that we were only doing dessert. Did you not get the message? Her. You know we can't actually eat at mother-in-law's house. We were counting on eating here before we drive back.
So she doesn't read text messages.
Or she read it, did not want to accept that, was still hoping she could guilt you into feeding her if she just showed up hungry.
Yeah, that's not the reality that I accept. There will be turkey when I arrive.
Me. Well, I think there should be fast food open somewhere between here and your place. Her adult kids were trickling out of the kitchen at this point, looking around as if turkey dinner was going to magically appear out of thin air, and everyone else is practically holding their breath waiting to see what happens. She spewed some not nice comments about how they were probably not going to find anything open, and it was my fault they were going hungry. Told the kids to grab something to eat in the cars, and stomped out. I don't know who lost their composure first, but I think it was my uncle who cracked and started laughing. Once we calmed back down, the rest of us had quite the nice evening enjoying just desserts. There's an update, but comments first.
I mean, it does sound like you got your petty revenge. There's no reason sister couldn't be bringing food to either of these gatherings. I know you gotta drive a bit, but you can bring a dish that can be reheated to mother-in-laws and to sisters. Mother-in-law's a bad cook? You could offer to take over cooking. Say, hey, I just wanted to help out, so I brought a couple dishes.
Yeah, like why is she leaving all the food to everyone else? She's not doing anything for Thanksgiving, just showing up and eating at places.
And I know you got to spend on gas to drive from another state or wherever. I can understand that you would bring less food. Like your contribution to Thanksgiving is your gas to a certain extent, but it's not a big deal to bring a dish too. Throw it in a cooler.
Also, I just cannot imagine traveling anywhere without, like, a crap ton of snacks.
That's true, too.
You gotta have car snacks.
Although it sounds like she wants something more substantial than snacks, or she would have been happy with pie. Because I can totally get behind going to a family member's house just to visit and eat pie.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. How much pie am I allowed, though?
I mean, it's a family gathering. Is anyone really going to police your pie consumption?
Well, if there's not enough pie for everyone, because I could eat a whole pie.
She said there was lots of dessert on the counter, so I have to assume there was more than enough pie for the invaders as well.
Top comment, if she's going to treat you like a food stop before heading home, maybe you should start meeting her at the door and asking for payment before she gets the food like a fast food joint would. Okay, now on to Just Desserts, the Christmas update.
Oh, there's a Christmas update.
25 days later. My kids got words from their cousin that there was quite the blow up from my sister on their way home. Bad enough that all the kids ended up in one car so they didn't have to listen to her. I am, of course, devastated, okay, not really, by her reaction.
So the kids that were probably also on this text thread saw the blow up coming and decided they were all going to carpool and let mom and dad drive separate.
Yes, because it sounds like most of the kids are adults. There's one that's still a teenager, but the other ones are all adults.
Probably couldn't even all fit in the same car. So they do 2 cars now.
Yeah. My text for the Christmas desserts drop-in read something like this. It was so great seeing all of you that dropped in for desserts on Thanksgiving. If you couldn't make it, know that you were missed. It worked out so well that we would like to invite all of you to drop by for desserts on Christmas Day as well. We will start at 2 p.m. on Christmas Day. Drop in as you can. Everyone is invited for caroling and cocoa on Christmas Eve as well. We will be leaving at 6 p.m. and it should only be about 2 hours. If you are going to attend either or both, please let me know which and how many people to plan for by the 15th. Love you all.
I can just feel the petty in every word of that.
Most of the families texted back right away. I didn't get a text from sister. Shocking, I know. What I did get was a phone call on the 19th and one on the 23rd to let me know that it isn't worth the extra drive time just for desserts. Keep in mind the extra drive time is 15 minutes or so each way.
That's a really hurtful text. Like, I can drive and visit mother-in-law for bad food, but I can't drive over and visit you for no food? Or desserts even? Desserts are good.
I'd almost prefer to have desserts to a meal because I just have such a sweet tooth.
I think it's super nice that you get to go visit your sister and she's got some sugar cookies on the table.
Yeah, and isn't visiting with the family the whole purpose of the trip, not just food?
Yeah, you'd think so. It's not that hard to turn up with food for yourself at the very least, right?
Mm-hmm. She continues, obviously, this was an attempt to wrangle a meal invite. I'm quite proud of myself for just saying that I was going to miss her family and hoped they had a Merry Christmas anyways. This summer, I had spent a fair amount of time thinking I wanted to make myself a throw blanket like the one I was making for sister for Christmas. After the call on the 19th, I took that lovely blanket out of the gifts and replaced it with a book of holiday recipes. Since I was feeling extra petty, instead of making a nice book, laminated with illustrated pages and properly bound, I instead printed out the pages on plain paper, stapled them together. I mailed it Christmas Eve, so she should be getting it in the mail in a few days.
My God, OP, I'm glad you're getting your petty revenge. I'm very happy for you. You are burning this bridge so thoroughly.
She's sick of being used by her sister for her cooking and food.
Right?
If you're only here for the food, don't come at all.
Apparently.
Sister's adult kids, on the other hand, had decided that dealing with their mom was a pain and they would be coming by for desserts without telling her. It was rather a nice surprise to get that text on the 14th. On Christmas Day, they even managed to get their teen brother into the car before she noticed as they were leaving. Funny thing, they all got their regular Christmas presents from me under the tree when they arrived. They also got an abundance of texts from their mother having an absolute fit that they had come to my house. The funniest one was her telling them that she and their father were driving home without them, as if that was somehow a punishment. Insert eye roll of everyone present here. The kids have their own car they drove to Aunt's house in.
Yeah, right? Kids just don't want to get pulled into the sister fight.
But they want those desserts. They're still going to Aunt's to see their cousins and everything for Christmas and get those cookies.
Yeah, they still want to be members of the family, even if mom is currently fighting with Aunt.
If you're wondering what recipes I chose to include in the cookbook, it's 25 pages of just desserts. Honestly, I couldn't resist.
You two seem like the type of sisters that will just let this fight last until you're both dead. Both of you. It won't just be until one of you's dead. you both have to be in the ground because the other one is still going to be keeping the fight up while, and just telling bad stories about the other.
Absolutely.
I drove all the way over to OP's house and she only had desserts. Can you believe that?
A whole 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back, and all I got was some cookies.
Well, no, 15 minutes there and then 10 hours back because they drive home.
Oh, yeah. But she had to drive the 10 hours home in any case because she was at the in-laws' house.
Yeah, but she likes the in-laws.
Even though they don't have good food, why does she only like her sister if her sister can provide good food?
I feel like OP needs to connect with that sister that does creative Thanksgiving.
Ooh, yeah.
Have her cater, because she stormed off to make it big, so that you can be her first catering gig.
Yeah, because she said she's going to be famous someday, yeah.
Oh my god, did we just stumble upon an amazing business idea? Bad Thanksgiving food that you can serve to your family as revenge.
Not a bad idea.
It's not. I bet you can make up a bunch of Jell-O turkeys beforehand.
Yeah, I bet those would store for quite a while.
Probably.
Top comment, yikes, even OP's sister's kids were like, nope, not dealing with mom. All the kids piling into one car so they didn't have to hear their mom complain is a whole ass vibe. Someone else wonders, do the in-laws purposefully make a bad dinner to get them to leave quickly? Once they're gone, the real food appears.
Oh my god.
That's diabolical. Do the in-laws hate them that much?
Yeah, their goal is just to send sister-in-law and the kids off. They want to have their own peaceful Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Because apparently sister is all about the drama.
What kind of complaints are in-laws having to endure while she's over there?
Yeah, because she's ranting on about her sisters, which is why all the kids escaped.
Oh, I wasn't even just talking about that. I was just talking about the bad food.
Oh, that's a good point.
Is she silent over there about the bad food? Because it sounds like she's not silent about the lack of food at your house. She just drives from another state to complain at everybody, it sounds like.
Yeah, sister is sounding a little bit like a nightmare of a guest. Am I the asshole for refusing to wake up my husband when my parents visited and kicking them out when they insisted?
I'm going to say not the asshole. You know your husband's sleep routine better than anyone else. It seems like it should be your decision.
Husband and I have been married for 5 years now, and we are both 29 years old. The last 3 weeks, due to a complete screw-up in a department in the company my husband works for, it has been all hands on deck for my husband and his team to resolve the issues.
Sounds like your husband's tired.
My husband has been working 18 hours a day, and some days not even coming home, working throughout the entire night and into the next day. I sure hope husband isn't salaried and that he's getting overtime for this.
I mean, I think even if you're salaried to that extent, you're legally required to get overtime.
And depending on what kind of job he has, working 24 hours, that sounds dangerous. Get your sleep, dude.
Crunch happens sometimes, though. I get that it happens, right?
I don't know much about the issues exactly, but what I do know is that they do not resolve the issues. It will be a $50 million loss for the company. The issues are not the results of my husband or anyone on his team, but they are the ones that have to fix the issues.
I mean, that sucks, but that happens.
Yeah.
I hope your husband's getting paid enough to compensate for this, like a nice overtime or a bonus or something, or he just makes enough that he can justify putting in this much work.
I can see the exhaustion in my husband's face when he comes in at 2 to 3 in the morning when I'm awake and leaves at 7 again. I don't know how he is doing it and just keeps going, but I try my best to keep as much as possible off of his plate at home until he could get the issues resolved. Before this, he has been nothing but supportive and helpful around the house. I
mean, that's great that you're, supporting each other in this time, right?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't know if I would bother coming home.
Right?
I would just sleep under my desk.
Yeah, sleep on the couch at work.
Yeah.
Grab a few hours. When he comes home, he eats, showers, and goes straight to bed. I have found him some nights literally sleeping at the table while he was busy eating when I went down to check on him because he wasn't in bed yet. And I got woken up or him passed out at the front of the bed with the shower running and him still in his work clothes. He's just fallen asleep sitting up.
He's working hard.
Yeah, at that point, don't drive home. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, at that point. I was like, I get maybe wanting to come home and I can get 5 hours of sleep in my own bed.
And a shower.
It's worth the drive, but if you're falling asleep before you even get in the shower, sleep at your desk.
2 nights back, he got home at around midnight, which is late, but it was earlier than when he's been getting home recently. I thought something bad happened because he looked like a ghost, but through his exhaustion, he gave me a massive smile and said, "They did it, and everything is done." He told me the boss gave them each a couple days off, and he only needs to be back in the office next week, Tuesday. He ate dinner, took a shower, and got into bed.
Good job.
I got up the next morning around 9 and made breakfast. I thought about waking up my husband, but didn't and let him sleep. Around 12, my parents visited me. I normally work from home, and they do visit from time to time, seeing as I'm 6 months pregnant as well. I greeted them, and we sat down and had coffee. Around 30 minutes into their visit, they asked where my husband was, and because they saw his truck in the driveway. I told them he was still sleeping. My mother gave me a look and said it's unacceptable for my husband to still be sleeping past 12, especially with a pregnant wife, and I should wake him up.
Okay.
So he's been sleeping for 12 hours, maybe less. He got home at midnight. It's now noon the next day. But he's been running on like zero sleep for 3 weeks.
Yeah, let him rest. Why does he even need to get out of bed?
And he's got a couple days off.
Yeah. If pregnant wife needs help, she can call her parents. They apparently have free time.
I told them no and to leave it, and then explained the full situation of what happened the last 3 weeks to them. They didn't budge and insisted I wake my husband up. Apparently, it's not right for him to sleep in with a pregnant wife. It went as far as my mother standing up and saying if I wouldn't do it, then she will go and wake him up. I stood up and blocked my mother from going up the stairs and told my parents if they find it so wrong for my husband to get proper sleep after 3 weeks of barely any sleep, they should just leave our house because I will not, and I refuse to let them wake him up as well.
Wow. Your mom is very insistent about this.
Yeah, and I'm glad that she is equally insistent of, no, let him sleep, he's exhausted.
Yeah, it's always good when they stand up to mom. Mom is hard to stand up to.
I told them, I will let my husband sleep until he wakes up himself. I will not disturb him, and I will not allow anyone else to disturb him. They asked if I am kicking them out, and I said yes. If they can't respect my request to leave my husband alone and let him sleep, they are no longer welcome. Their whole visit lasted around an hour.
I mean, that's still a decent visit.
Yeah.
If you're just turning up midday while she works from home.
I think if she's like, I'm going to kick you out if you don't drop this, you just drop it, go sit back down and finish your coffee.
Uh-huh.
Right? You don't need to leave, you just need to drop it.
I feel like you shouldn't have let it get to the point where she had to threaten to kick you out.
Yeah.
You should be like, should we wake him up? And she says no, and you say okay.
Yeah, it's her husband. Let her handle it. Just because she's pregnant, you don't need to stomp all over her boundaries.
Yeah, she seems to be perfectly functional at this point still. She's only 6 months in. I know that's kind of far in, but it's also only 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm. Around 3 p.m., I got bombarded with texts from other family members berating me for kicking my parents out of our house, even my sister and brother berating me for doing it, telling me I'm an asshole for kicking them out for just trying to help. Even after explaining the situation, some family members are still on my parents' side saying I overreacted by kicking them out because they were only looking out for my safety, seeing as I'm pregnant. I think they were overreacting by getting ready to charge up the stairs and pounce on your husband and make him wake up.
Why are you stressing out the pregnant woman? She says, I want it this way, and you say yes.
Right? But no, they know better what their pregnant daughter needs, and she needs her husband to be awake and doing all the chores for her.
And she needs 2 parents in the house screaming at her husband. That'll keep the baby nice and healthy.
Oh yeah, super calm, relaxing, stress-free.
Uh-huh.
Top comment, someone give this lady a trophy for being an awesome spouse, NTA.
Yeah, she had to throw her pregnant ass in front of her mom.
Yeah, throw her pregnant body to block the stairs and be like, get the fuck out of my house, Mom. Don't go waking up my husband. The audacity.
And then her parents go and complain to everyone in the family, and everyone in the family is sending her angry text messages. This poor pregnant woman.
Right?
It's bad enough when they get the whole family on their side when you're not pregnant.
Someone has a comment about that. Tell your parents if they ever involve other people the way they did this time, they will not be meeting their grandkids. They can communicate to you if they have a problem or keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
Tell them they are guests in your house, and have them being your parents does not give them the right to disrespect you because you aren't a child anymore. Gossiping about you has made you want them around less, not more. Refuse to discuss it with others. They weren't involved and their opinion isn't welcome. Be firm now, less problems later. I think that's great advice.
That's excellent advice. You definitely need to. This escalated to the point where you're going to need to set ground rules.
I can't believe someone would insert themselves into your married personal life so much as to tell you what your spouse can and cannot do in your own home.
Yeah. And that's when he's just sleeping in.
I don't know. Sleeping in doesn't seem like a big deal. Maybe if he was doing it constantly all the time, and not working and bringing home any money or helping with any chores. But it sounds like normally he's bringing home money.
Yeah.
He's equally supportive with the housework and stuff. And this was just extenuating circumstances where he's now exhausted. Let him sleep.
Seems like he's a good husband.
Hey, baby. Mwah. Mwah. He don't like us.
Yeah. We're like 1 minute from the end of the video and you start playing with a cat.
I need him.
He doesn't like that.
I want to smooch him. Oh, didn't let me smooch your face.
No. He's gonna just...
There we go. Okay, now you're free.
He's gonna leave. That was awful.
Goodbye.
Why did he get up there?
OP even says it's not like the pregnancy is keeping me from not being able to do anything. Everything is going great with the pregnancy.
Yeah, at 6 months, unless something's going wrong, you're still pretty mobile, right?
Yeah.
Like, she seems fine.
My sisters didn't start showing until 5 months. Like, before that, you couldn't even tell they were pregnant.
Right. So like, what does he need to do?
I know it's different for everyone, but it's probably she's still pretty mobile.
It sounds like she's...
showing, but not
Yeah.
incapacitated.
It sounds like she's very mobile. It sounds like she managed to feed herself. Like, what does husband need to do? The moral of the story, don't stress out pregnant people.
Do you think they would have been, like, wake him up even if, like, he was a person who, like, worked nights? It's unacceptable to be asleep at noon.
Right.
No matter what your schedule is, because the proper schedule is working 9 to 5 and being awake.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like instead of the parents being like, oh, your husband's asleep, we should fill in a little around the house. They're like, no, husband's got to get up and be responsible for this daughter of ours.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered to help.
That's a good point.
No, get up and make her breakfast at noon.
I don't know what was so urgent that he needed to wake up and do it immediately. Anyways.
Just, he needs to be
Be
hovering.
awake and present in case she has the slightest whim or desire that he should be catering to because she is pregnant and carrying his baby.
Mm-hmm. And you can't ask the parents.
No.
No.
Am I the asshole for abandoning my daughter on vacation?
I mean, from that much information, yes.
How old is the daughter?
That's what I was going to say. I have no information other than you abandoned someone on vacation. So, yes.
My wife and I have always dreamed of celebrating our 40th anniversary with a luxurious vacation. Just the two of us, reliving the romance of our early years. We had it all planned out for years now, and we're excited beyond words. Enter our adult daughter, Jane.
All that romance we had before Jane was born.
Jane and her husband got wind of our plans and promptly invited themselves and their 2 children, 9 female, 5 male, along.
I can't imagine inviting myself along on someone's vacation.
And so many people in these stories are doing it.
We don't even have kids. We wouldn't be that as annoying as, like, bringing the grandkids, but, like, still.
I don't, unless I am explicitly invited.
Yeah.
I'm like, have fun on your vacation.
Yeah. Part of... Maybe that's because for me, a vacation is getting away from from everyone, right? I want to be alone with my wife for a little bit, and I don't want to see... I love my family. I love your family. I don't want to see them for a week.
Which is really funny considering our past 2 vacations were family vacations with my family.
You know, it's not that bad. I'm just saying, like, it's not... If you're not explicitly invited, it is weird to me to be like, I want to come too.
I originally put my foot down and told them this trip was just for us, which upset her some. But my wife has a hard time saying no to Jane, as she is the youngest of our children and our only daughter, and she didn't want to hurt her feelings, so she reluctantly agreed to let them join. I wasn't thrilled about it at the time, but I wanted to make my family happy, and I knew my wife was also okay with the idea of a family trip. Even if she was heartbroken, we wouldn't get our romantic trip. We went along with it. The place we were originally going was not child-friendly, so we changed course and decided on an all-inclusive family-friendly resort. We paid for the resort and our grandchildren's plane tickets. Jane and her husband only had to pay for their own airfare. Here's where things get complicated. As the vacation got closer, I started having a change of heart. I realized that our 40th anniversary was a once-in-a-lifetime milestone, and I wanted to honor it in a way that was true to our original plans. My wife and I might not be able to afford a trip like this again for quite some time, and it's something we always wanted to do. So, without consulting anyone, I switched our tickets last minute to go to the romantic destination that my wife and I had originally planned for.
Bro, no, don't do that's crazy.
I did not tell Jane or her husband. I didn't even tell my wife until the day before our flight left, which was the day before Jane's flight left for their vacation. It wasn't an easy decision, and I feel guilty about it, but I wanted our 40th anniversary to be the special, intimate celebration we had always hoped for. We called Jane after we landed to tell her, and she was extremely upset, to say the least. She seemed to have the idea that we were going to look after our grandkids so she and her husband could have some alone time, and now that I abandoned her, they would have to do it all themselves. I hung up on them when my son-in-law started shouting, and my wife and I enjoyed the rest of our trip. They came back the same day we did, but have not answered any of our texts, and Jane seems to be ignoring me. My wife told me she vastly preferred our trip to the family trip we would have taken, but she still doesn't like how Jane is mad at us and wants me to apologize. I'm not sure I want to after learning Jane and her husband were using us for free babysitting and a free trip, but I feel like I should just to keep the peace. Am I the asshole for changing our trip destination last minute and leaving Jane and her family to fend for themselves?
Yeah, you're the asshole. I'm sorry. I know that everything up to that point you weren't the asshole, but the second you just, ghosted them, you become of the everyone sucks here.
I feel like it was a little bit assholey to his wife.
Yeah.
To just change it.
It's asshole to everyone.
But I don't know. Jane invited herself and her little grandkids along on an anniversary trip. She's an asshole.
Yeah.
So I kind of get why he just was going and doing his own thing.
He could have said no firmer, though. It sounds like wife caved. You could have been like, I love you, honey, but I'm going to tell our daughter no. Please do not tell her yes later.
Okay, Jane is absolutely the asshole for inviting herself and her children along and then planning to use her parents as free babysitting on their anniversary trip.
Yeah. If it wasn't their anniversary trip, it's perfectly reasonable to get a little bit of free babysitting out of your parents. Mm-hmm. But she's being very entitled with her parents' time.
Yes, but it was a little assholey to just switch it without telling her.
You can't just ghost her after you already after they set up all those plans.
Well, they let her know before her flight took off.
Okay, what were they gonna do at that point?
Not go, which would have been fine. But also, he paid for the resort and his grandkids' tickets, so they were getting a almost free vacation. So I don't understand why Jane is so upset with them. She's being very entitled. You still got a free vacation, you just had to watch your own kids.
I know. I kept thinking about that because he's like, I don't know if we'll be able to afford another vacation like this. I don't know when the next time we'll be able to afford a vacation like this is. And he paid for 2 vacations.
Yeah. Jane is, I don't like Jane. She's very inconsiderate.
Yeah. None of the other kids invited themselves and their families along.
Yeah. But anyways, a little bit of an asshole to change plans without telling anyone. So
yeah, I think that was your downfall. Mm-hmm. The second you ghosted them instead of being an adult and talking it out. What did Reddit think about that one? Because I'm actually on the fence on how Reddit's going on this one. I think they're going to go not the asshole, but
Reddit is going not the asshole. Not the asshole. Everybody sucks here.
Everybody sucks here is kind of how I'm
not
going.
Not the asshole. NTA, what part of 40th anniversary trip did your daughter and son-in-law not understand? Oh, boo freaking who. They wanted to spend time alone and designated the grandparents to babysit on what should have been their special trip.
Yeah.
If your daughter and son-in-law wanted alone time on a trip, they could have gone on a different trip and politely asked you and your wife to watch the kids while they were away. Not try and hijack your trip.
Yeah, hijacking their trip and it's their 40th anniversary trip is crazy.
Yeah. Your daughter needs a swift kick of reality right in the tuchus. That makes me laugh, tuchus. She had the audacity to invite her family on your romantic weekend with the express purpose of securing babysitters so she could enjoy herself without any thought for her parents. The entitlement is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's very entitled, and you even had to change resorts.
NTA, you essentially paid for her holiday. If you then go elsewhere, then that's up to you. You have no obligation to tell her or check with her first. She has no right to expect you to be her babysitter on your 40-year wedding anniversary trip.
All those things are true, but also this is his daughter. He needs to maintain a relationship with her, and ditching her, ghosting her, is obviously going to cause a rift.
Yeah. So everybody sucks there, but mostly Jane.
Mostly Jane, yep. He was so close to being NTA in my opinion, and then he's like, I just decided I'm gonna not tell anyone. Couldn't even conspire with his wife.
Am I the asshole for kicking my boyfriend's girl best friend out of my Halloween party because of her costume?
I mean, without knowing what the costume is, it kind of sounds like you're the asshole. But I can think of some costumes that are very worth kicking somebody out for.
I, 19 female, had my Halloween party over the weekend. I invited my boyfriend, 21 male, and a bunch of our friends over, including his girl best friend. I will call her AITAH.
Sorry, I feel like that would be mean if this wasn't a Halloween post.
My boyfriend and I decided to dress up as Peter Pumpkin Eater. If you haven't seen the costume, the guy wears a shirt that says Peter, and the girl dresses up as a pumpkin because, well, you know.
I was thinking it had to be something gross, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of couples costumes like that. I don't want to think about you guys doing stuff like that. Keep that to yourselves.
No, this is a very college level costume. This is normal.
Still gross. Maybe I'm a bit of a prude, I guess.
I guess you're old. You're turning into an old bitter woman, Kristie. This party is satanic. You should kick everyone out of it.
I was pretty excited just because I thought it was funny and cute costume. AITAH texted me the night before the party and asked what my costume was going to be. I explained the couple's costume my boyfriend and I would be wearing, and she replied that she would probably just come over as a sexy cat. Fast forward to the night of the party, everyone is having fun, and it's a nice time. Well, it was, until AITAH walked in, dressed as a pumpkin.
Fucking AITAH.
She went over and hugged my boyfriend. I swear the room went silent. I was pissed. I asked if I could speak with her privately, and we went into my bedroom. I asked why she chose that costume since she knew the details of the joint costume between my boyfriend and I. She said she didn't see the big deal and thought it would be a better group costume.
This is a statement, right?
A group costume?
Yeah, a group costume.
This is not supposed to be a group costume.
Calling it a group costume is also a statement.
I told her I didn't think it was funny and I would prefer that she change. I offered her a witch costume that she could borrow for the night. She turned red and started to yell that I don't get to control what she wears. I told her that she was disrespecting my relationship by insinuating that my boyfriend and her have sex. She kept screaming about how it was funny and I needed to lighten up. I ended up asking her to leave. She stormed out of the house and I returned to the party. The mood had shifted and the night felt ruined. My boyfriend agrees that she crossed the line and is planning on cutting her off completely. But a few of our friends are saying that I was being dramatic and I should have let her stay. I guess I'm just wondering, am I the asshole? There is an update, but first, what do you think?
I mean, that was a hell of a statement she made, I feel. I don't think you're the asshole for getting mad at her or for kicking her out when she, acted like that when you called her out on it and I even offered her another costume. I feel like that costume makes me suspicious of your boyfriend. I don't think he did anything in that story to make me feel suspicious, but the fact that she walked in a pumpkin costume when she knew the context, now I'm wondering about boyfriend.
She is outing their secret with this costume.
Yeah, right? That sounds like she's just saying, I'm sick of being the side piece here. We need to make this a group.
She does have an edit where she answers some questions. Has she done things like this before? This is the first time she has ever done anything like this. We always hug and chat when we see each other. It was extremely out of character. Do they have a sexual history? He said that nothing sexual has ever happened between them. I do trust him because he was honestly shocked she would pull something like that since she has always treated me with kindness.
I'd be awfully shocked too if the girl I was sleeping with came dressed in a costume that just says, hey, we're sleeping together. But I have heard zero evidence that that's true, so maybe I don't need to be throwing bro under the bus, but every time I talk about it like this, you give me little looks like, wait till the update.
It could just be that she is in love with her best friend, who is OP's boyfriend, and wants to be in a relationship with him, and is trying to break them up.
Yep, you know what? Innocent until proven guilty. I'm rooting for you, guy. I'm hoping that it doesn't turn the way I think it's gonna.
We are currently texting about how to move forward. He wants to completely cut her off because of this. It was completely out of character, so I'm wondering, could it have been a one-time thing? She has never shown interest before, and she has normally been really kind. Sometimes people make mistakes, like me blowing up completely, but I'm letting him make the decision completely on his own. I'm not pushing him one direction or the other. It really seems like he is done with the friendship and with whoever said I was wrong.
I mean, it's his best friend. If he wants to go so far as to cut her off, I would let him make that call. I might intervene if I thought my partner was going too soft on his friend.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's going too hard, I might be like, well, he might have a reason for this beyond just this one thing, so it's your choice.
Update, 2.5 weeks later. He is no longer friends with her. She showed her true colors and they are no longer speaking.
Cool. Sounds like it ended on a good note. We don't have to read any more, right?
Update 3 months after that.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I have an update. I meant to post one a few months ago, but I really needed time to process the events that occurred after this whole ordeal. I'm glad I waited, though, because you all need to hear this one.
I'm not sure I do. I feel like I can guess it. Go ahead, though.
Many people pointed out that my boyfriend must be sleeping with AITA since she went absolutely bonkers for seemingly no reason. I thought since he immediately took my side and blocked her on everything that you were wrong. Well, it was me who was wrong. It turns out that AITA and my boyfriend had been sleeping together for months, and they were just really good at hiding it.
Who could have seen that coming? Shocked face, yeah.
Until she decided that she didn't want to be his mistress anymore. Can you see that's quotes?
Yeah, it's great.
Mistress anymore. I found this out when I was at his house and hanging out in his room. He was showering after a workout and I heard this vibrating noise. He had taken his phone and mine was right next to me, so I couldn't figure out what it was. I opened his bedside table drawer and found a second phone.
Wow, I assumed he would just, change her number in his contacts to a different name. No, he got a second phone.
Steve.
Yeah.
This is now Steve. Nothing suspicious going on with Steve.
No, it's just Steve. You know Steve. He's always asking if I'm up. Just really wants to know if I'm sleeping yet.
My gut told me that something wasn't right. Why would he have a second phone? It didn't take me long to guess his password. 123. Really? And my fears were confirmed.
My guy, you could have just gone 125 and she'd never have gotten in.
There was a missed call from AITA. I looked through the messages and found out the truth. Not only had they been sleeping together, she recently found out that she was pregnant. This was the reason she pulled the stunt on Halloween. She was trying to force his hand. I also saw that he was messaging other girls as well. I was completely devastated. After his shower, he found me grabbing all of my belongings and putting them in my bag. He asked why I was leaving, and I told him because we were finished. I threw his phone on the bed, and he looked like he was going to vomit. He started pleading me to hear him out, but I didn't want to hear it. He could have all those other girls. I didn't want him anymore. He followed me out of the house, shaking and crying. He even followed me all the way to my car, trying to block my path. I went over the grass around him and didn't look back.
He's trying awfully hard to keep you when he's got so many other girls.
Yeah, you think if he wanted to keep her that bad, he just wouldn't cheat on her.
Yeah, you think so.
He sent me a long message about how he never wanted to hurt me, that he wanted me back, and how he was using his work phone to text all these women so I wouldn't find out.
Oh, that's okay then.
That was really helpful. I sent his boss a nice little message about how company property was being misused, and I saw on LinkedIn he no longer works for that company anymore. I have blocked him on everything now. I hope him and AITA have a magical life with their baby. Oh, I heard through the grapevine that he got one of the other women pregnant too. I'm glad I dodged that bullet.
Wow. He, is very good at hiding things, I guess, up to this point. Up until AITA threw him under the bus, either he's excellent at hiding things, or you just were not looking. I'm sorry. It sounds like there's a lot going on.
She missed a lot. I'm sure there were red flags.
Right?
There had to have been if he's got this many side girls.
Yeah.
As for me, I am currently in therapy working on my trust issues and learning how to love myself again after this situation. I have been putting myself out there again and have cut contact with anyone who knew what was happening behind my back. Thank you all for the love and support.
How many people knew?
A lot of people, I guess.
I mean, apparently a lot of women knew at least one part of his web. That's rough.
Top comment. This is why you need to finish the whole nursery rhyme before making your costume.
What is the rest of what is the nursery rhyme even? I can't remember.
Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife and couldn't keep her. Put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. But there's a second verse, too. Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had another and didn't love her.
Oh.
Moral of the story, research your Halloween costume.
That's a little on the nose, isn't it?
And then people are like, damn, I didn't realize a children's nursery rhyme got this dark or this sexual. And then other people are like, dude, all of them are.
All of them are, yeah. Yeah, Mother Goose has a dark sense of humor.
Am I the asshole for refusing to reimburse my friend for a chair that broke under me?
I mean, was it a crappy chair? Or did you do something dumb? I'm gonna go with not the asshole, but if you were like jumping on it, then you're the asshole.
I, female 25, was at a friend's house for a game night this past weekend with a group of about 6. Everyone brought food and drinks and we were having a good time. When about halfway through the night, I got up to use the bathroom. When I came back, I saw that one of the girls had moved from a chair to the side to my space on the couch. This didn't bug me as people shuffle around in groups, so whatever. The chair was an antique wooden chair that sat a bit lower to the ground with an added back/butt cushion. When I sat down, it immediately broke, sending me to the ground with the seat under me and the arm frames falling to the side.
Okay, it sounds like the chair was booby-trapped.
Everyone got quiet for a second before jumping up to help me. I wasn't hurt, just very embarrassed. For context, I'm a bigger girl, about 260 pounds at 5'7".
A chair should be able to handle 260.
I agree. My friend, female 27, was very gracious and nice about it when it happened, accepting my apologies and telling me not to worry. Her boyfriend, male 29, said that the chair was his grandmother's and it had fallen apart before and he was able to repair it. I was ushered back to the couch and game night continued.
I'm thinking on that chair and I'm like, I'm 220. I feel like I would not hesitate to sit on any chair. And if I have to hesitate to sit on a chair, it's a bad chair.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're under 300, you really should not have to worry about chairs.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, if you're under 300, you should be able to sit in any chair, and if you can't, it's a bad chair.
Yes.
Fast forward to the next morning, I received a text from my friend who let me know that the chair couldn't be put back together, and that from her research, it would cost about $250 to get a new one. But she'd let me know exactly how much when she found one.
Oh yeah, it's going to cost $250 to get an antique chair that you can't get a new one. And it sounds like it was crappy. Like, even just the description of it kind of sounds like it was a bad chair when it was new. Those ones with like the extra cushion on the butt and the back, like, I've never seen one that doesn't look cheap.
It was in style back then when they were new.
It was probably in style back then, you're right.
I was a bit taken aback and responded confused, asking why I would be expected to pay for a faulty chair. She said that yes, while on occasion the frames would become unattached and cause it to fall apart, but that's not what happened this time. She sent me pictures of the broken chair, particularly a bent support and 2 other broken supports.
So this shitty chair falls apart all the time, and just because you're the last person to break it, you have to pay for it? I'm really mad about this. Clearly those supports have bent over time, right?
You would think. I was like, if any chair falls apart just randomly sometimes, maybe don't have it out where people can sit on it.
Right? If it's like some like sentimental chair, doesn't sound that sentimental to me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe don't have it out at game night where you're pretty much setting a trap for people. You need to send her a bill for like $1 more being like, I have neck pain.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Be petty.
Yeah.
She said that the chair broke under my weight and couldn't be fixed, and since the chair was an antique from her boyfriend's late grandmother, she wanted a new one for him. But it won't have been his grandmother's.
No.
Well, you can't replace the sentimental value with just some random chair you find just because it looks the same. It's not the one his grandmother sat in. This makes no sense to me.
This is really dumb.
I responded that the chair was very old and had a history of collapsing. If they were concerned about preserving it, they should have not had it out for people to use. And $250+ for a chair I sat in for 1 minute seems a bit ridiculous. At this point, she seemingly got frustrated and said that she loves me, but that I'm her biggest friend and that it wouldn't have happened to anyone else.
You're not that big, honestly.
She said, it broke from your weight plopping down all at once, not because the frame was loose. I think it's only fair you reimburse us for the chair since you're responsible for breaking it.
Go with the neck pain route. She sounds like an asshole.
I'm still figuring out how to respond. I don't want to pay her for something I don't see as being completely my fault. I also think she's using the scenario to shame me about my weight a bit, which I find frustrating. My friends' opinions are mixed. A few are saying that I should just pay her and move on, even if it's not exactly my fault. One thinks it is my fault and I should pay up. And a few more think that she's in the wrong for asking and I should continue to politely decline. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay?
No, you're not the asshole. Your friend sounds like an asshole. I can't imagine setting out a chair that I knew falls apart regularly for guests to sit in.
I know, that seems so like you're gonna hurt your guests. That's terrible.
Right? No, it's just crazy to me. Or at least sit in it yourself, right?
I think just don't have it out anywhere, especially if it's sentimental and an antique.
Yeah, it's a sentimental antique that is also a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Maybe it should just be in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Out of, like, reach.
Maybe it should just be a chair in the bedroom that you put clothes on and not sit in.
It needs to not be in the living room.
One of the top comments. If a chair has a history of breaking, it's unsafe to have guests unknowingly sit on it. What if it breaks the way it usually does and the person sitting on it is injured? Bad hosts. NTA.
Yeah, I swear they set, like, a trap for people. What is this? Also, it sounds like boyfriend isn't good at fixing things. He's like, oh, it falls apart regularly, I can put it back together. It sure sounds like you can't.
Yeah, it does not stay put back together.
Buy a screw.
Maybe some wood glue.
Yeah.
And just, like, make it some more secure.
Yeah.
Another comment. If I broke something at a friend's house, I'd offer to pay for it. If a friend broke something at my house, I'd decline their offer to pay. I'm not sure which is correct, so I'm not passing judgment on who's the asshole. I agree that they shouldn't have had it out where people could sit on it, especially since it had both sentimental and intrinsic value and was not in good repair.
I fully get that mentality of like, no, I'm the asshole in all scenarios.
Yeah.
Listen, if I just hand you a gift, that's because I like you, and you don't owe me anything in return. If you give me a gift, I don't deserve this, why would you do this to me?
And I need to get you something of value equally in sentiment and monetary value so that, we're even.
Yes, you have provided me with a huge burden. I don't deserve this. I'm not a good friend.
No. A lot of people are saying you can't buy a new chair with sentimental value. Like, repair it or just give up and call it a loss. But do not pay because this is dumb.
I will say, if you broke a chair that has sentimental value, I could see replacing it. It really does not sound to me like you broke this chair, though.
No.
It sounds like you just were the last straw that broke the camel's back. This poor chair.
I like this one. The person who moved from the chair to the couch broke it. You were the fall guy, literally.
I forgot about the person that ditched the chair. She definitely broke it.
You think she broke it just a little bit? Was like, oh, don't.
Right?
I'm just gonna not say anything and move to the couch and pretend that I did not break this chair. It's still holding up. It looks okay, kind of, but it is not stable.
100% that is what happened. But I will also add, not her fault either.
No.
But I think that's absolutely what happened. She's like, this chair is wobbling and creaking. I need to get off it.
Yeah, I don't blame the person who got up and moved for moving, but they should have been like, hey, nobody sit in this chair. It seems sketchy.
Right?
Am I the asshole for ordering alcohol?
I mean, order whatever makes you happy, I guess.
Am I the asshole? I'm currently on a solo vacation trip, all-inclusive, to save having to look for places to eat by myself. The hotel has club-style seating, meaning that all tables are tables of 8 and people get sat together. Apparently, it's to encourage a sense of community and conversation. Last night, I was seated first and had a glass of wine. A family of 5 got seated at my table, 2 adults and 3 children. The mother turned to me and said, "We do not wish to expose our children to women drinking alcohol." I smiled and said, perhaps they should ask to move tables if it was an issue, but I would be drinking the wine.
I'm sorry. I can't imagine the audacity to just sit down at a table and immediately ask a stranger to stop drinking what they're drinking.
Right? Like, this is something the restaurant serves. If you don't want your children exposed to alcohol, don't take them to restaurants that serve alcohol.
Well, it's not the alcohol that's upsetting them. It's this harlot that dares to consume alcohol while being a woman.
They noticed I was on my own and made passive-aggressive comments about this. I went up to get food, and on return, the wine had disappeared. A waiter came over and asked to see my wristband for the all-inclusive and said the family had told them I was underage and must have sneaked away from my parents. He was very apologetic and returned with a fresh glass of wine just as the family came back with their food.
Wow, okay, so they just decided to take it into their hands, huh? With not even a good strategy.
Am I the asshole for then requesting the waiter brought me the full bottle along with a couple shots of vodka? The family stormed out of the restaurant when I drank the shots as they arrived at the table.
No, you're not the asshole. That is honestly a hilarious and correct response, I think. I don't think you were overreacting. I think you were properly reacting. You're just doing your own thing. And for some reason, that infuriates them.
Top comment. The mother turned to me and said, "We do not wish to expose our children to women drinking alcohol. Then don't take your kids to places where alcohol is served, Mormonella, NTA." It's just women drinking alcohol. What the heck is that about? It's clearly not an issue with alcohol as much as it is with women. Sheesh.
We can't be having the children get any ideas of independence. That's what it sounds like. Like if a family sat next to you and said, "Hey, we don't want our kids exposed to alcohol," and that was the full sentence, you might be the asshole for ordering a bunch of stuff, but they just kept carrying on with it. They took your alcohol away from you. At what point is that okay?
Yeah, I don't know. Even asking you to not drink alcohol is overstepping, but then taking your alcohol away is way overstepping. And at that point, you are justified in ordering more alcohol just to spite them.
Absolutely. If you're not okay with alcohol, there's lots of restaurants that don't serve alcohol.
Reddit is pretty firmly NTA and thinks that she is awesome. You are an absolute legend for requesting the full bottle of wine and vodka shots. This level of pettiness is something we should all aspire to.
Honestly, you need to buy a round of shots for all the women in the restaurant.
I mean, if they kept raising a stink about it, that would be the next step. Am I the asshole for ruining a baby name?
I mean, it sounds like you're the asshole.
I am Brazilian, but I've been living in the US for 3 years. My first language is Brazilian Portuguese. I have a 4-year-old son, and I'm pregnant with a girl due in May. My son is friends with a girl whose mother, I'll call her Becca, is also pregnant. She's due a couple weeks before me and is also expecting a third girl. Since we take our kids to play dates almost weekly, we frequently talk about our pregnancies. Becca is into unique names, not uniques or tragedies, but names that she and her husband create.
Sorry, what do you mean? What is unique?
Look at how they spelled uniques and tragedies. You're going to have to put that on this.
I don't understand still. Well, why is she spelling it like that?
Because people think it's unique. Have you not been the jokes of everybody's like into spelling the names like tragedy like that? Her name is Tragedy, but it's spelled with the D-E-I-G-H. It's so unique. Okay. There is a whole subreddit devoted to names like this, Josh.
I did not know this.
Oh my gosh. It's not my style, but she managed to come up with genuinely nice names for both her older daughters. So there was never really a reason for me to say anything. This time, Becca and her husband had a lot of trouble coming up with the new name. She first brought this up last December. For months, they'd try to create something that sounded good, with no success. We took our kids on a playdate at a park this weekend. When we sat down for a snack, Becca excitedly told me they'd finally settled on a name. I was really happy for her and asked what they'd chosen. Narina. That sounds nice, right?
It sounds nice. I'm still waiting for this means something horrible in Portuguese.
To those who don't know, that's Portuguese for nostril.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I managed to control myself and told her it sounded lovely, but my son let out a giggle. My husband and I are raising him bilingual, so he speaks Portuguese. And Becca wanted to know why. I tried to brush it off, but she kept insisting. Eventually, I told her that while Narina could be a lovely name, it was also the Portuguese word for nostril.
Is it like 1-to-1, the Portuguese word for nostril?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't speak Portuguese.
There's so many names that when you say it in Korean, it sounds like some crazy name.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I care if my name sounds weird in a foreign language.
Yeah, how often is Narina, her daughter, going to run into someone who actually speaks Portuguese?
I mean...
I don't know anyone who speaks Portuguese.
Brazil's a fairly populous country.
Yeah, but it's far away.
Yeah.
Becca seemed really sad to hear that. She said she'd think of something else, but had fallen in love with Narina. After we went home, Becca's husband called me. He was furious at me for ruining the only name they had agreed on. Apparently, he had a fight with Becca because she told him she wanted to think of something else. He argued they'd never visit Brazil anyway, so they shouldn't have to change the name, but Becca refused to use Narina. My husband agrees that their fight is not my fault, but thinks that I didn't need to tell Becca anything, since Americans are unlikely to know what Narina means. Am I the asshole?
I think you're a little bit the asshole for not just telling her up front. You tried to hide it.
Yeah, she did try to hide it, but how often is she gonna run into someone speaking Portuguese?
She's not, but I feel like you could have worded it better.
Yeah.
Where you're like, Narina could be a lovely name, but it means nostril. You weren't very subtle. You obviously do not like this name, and that's fair. I don't know. I feel like when you're picking names, unless it means something horrible in that other language, don't worry too much about it.
She has a little edit. This was not my son's fault. He is 4 years old and had an honest reaction to hearing a baby would essentially be named Nostril. I get that some people might think I was the asshole, but don't blame my child for this.
Yeah, I don't blame the kid.
Top comment, NTA, I'm shocked they didn't bother Googling their name ideas as they came up with them.
If I Google Narina, will it turn up Nostril?
I see Narina as Nostril on the first page of search results.
Okay. I wouldn't even know how to spell Narina.
Yeah, Narina.
Not how I would have spelled it.
I would have gone EENA.
Me too.
OP replied to that comment about Googling the names. I don't think they ever do. Apparently, their eldest daughter's name also means something in a different language, though a much cuter word. And they had no idea until someone who spoke it told them. Are you Googling Narina?
I Googled Narina, and that person is a liar. It's not on the first page.
Okay.
They probably typed in Brazilian or something. The top thing is some Doctor Who character. They have a big nose? No, it's just some lady. So there you go. They might be big Doctor Who nerds and want to name their kid after this one-off character from an episode in the 50s.
Okay, another comment. NTA, it is not ruined. They're not even Portuguese. And they could always change the spelling if their panties are this twisted. And then they give several different spellings of Narina.
Yeah, I don't think it's ruined at all. I do think your delivery on the word Narina was a little condescending is all. Because that is kind of the most painful way to tell someone that a word means something in another language. Like, somebody laughs, and then they won't explain why they're laughing at you. And then they're like, well, it's not that big of a deal. It could be a pretty name, but it does mean nostril. You idiot.
Yeah.
I feel like your delivery was awful.
Yeah, it was not a great delivery. But, I mean, English is not her first language, so
Yeah, that's true.
maybe it's a language barrier thing in her delivery.
Maybe.
People are giving other names that sound like things in other languages.
Oh.
Bill in Dutch means buttock. But do you think people are going to stop using the name Bill? No.
That's fair.
Todd is the German word for death. Oh, but people think the husband is rude for calling her and yelling at her.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that's very rude.
The husband was very rude for calling and yelling about it. Just frustrated because he can't figure out a name with his wife.
Yeah.
It's got to be unique.
Just name it Sarah. Is that not even a common name anymore? Is that just a millennial name?
I don't know, but I think 1/3 of all millennials are named Sarah.
Yeah. Am I the asshole for not wanting to use any part of my husband's late girlfriend's name for our child?
I mean, no. I get that it sounds like she passed while they were still dating and he wants to memorialize her in some way, but I don't think bringing her name into the new relationship is a very good idea. It's a bit weird.
My husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 3, and now we're expecting our first child. My husband lost his first girlfriend, Emmy, when they were both 21. They'd been together for almost 6 years, and he truly loved her. He was honest with me about her and about the fact that she would always be someone he missed, and he had maintained a relationship with Emmy's parents. That was always okay with me. He seemed in a good place to be in another relationship, and he had dated before me, so it was reassuring. About 6 weeks ago, my husband mentioned that if we had a girl, he would love to use Emmy or Grace, which was Emmy's middle name, somewhere in the name. He told me it was something he always thought of doing. And he told me for a boy he had ways of using masculine forms of Emmy or Grace somewhere in a boy's name.
What are the masculine ways of using Emmy and Grace in a boy's name?
Emerson or Grayson, probably.
Oh, okay.
Those are two I can think of. Emmett I can think of several M names, but Grace, I can only think of Grayson.
I mean, Grayson's not a bad name.
Mm-hmm. I told him I wasn't really on board with that, and he never mentioned this to me before. He asked me why he would, and then said he didn't know why I was being difficult about it. It was a few days later he told me he wanted to use the names, and he was putting his foot down that he should be allowed to. He said we can add it as a second middle name if I won't consider a first name or a first middle name, but that it should absolutely be in there somewhere. He said only someone jealous would be hesitant to use it like I am.
Okay, you don't get to put your foot down about the baby's name. It's a mutual decision, and it sounds like she vetoed this, and I gotta agree with her. It's a bit weird. I get that she was like your first love, but you're in a new relationship. You need to prioritize your current wife.
And I do feel like baby names are always a 2 yes situation. You need 2 yeses. If either one of you says no and vetoes it, it's out.
Yeah.
I asked him how he'd feel if he were in my shoes, if I wanted to name our child after someone else that I would always love but couldn't be with. He told me he would suck it up for my sake and he would accept the dead aren't competition. Then he said he would actually be the one suggesting it and there would be no weirdness for him. I think that's a big fat lie.
I mean, he's essentially a widower, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they weren't married, they were young. It was his first love.
They were together for 6 years, yeah.
I think that's just a lie of convenience because you don't have anyone like that in your past.
Yeah.
Or you would have a kid that was named after 2 passed away exes.
Yeah, he's only okay with it because it's his ex and, like, it's something that happened to him and he has always thought about doing this. So he's like, yeah, I'd totally be okay if you wanted to do it too because it's something I've always wanted to do. But if he didn't have a dead ex-girlfriend, he would not be okay with it.
Yeah, I think he's not seeing it from your viewpoint.
It was a couple of weeks later before he brought it up again, and this time he said he would do this even if I loved my late partner more and was only with him because I couldn't be with my late partner. If I had one, which I don't. That became something more emotional for me because it felt like a confession when he brought it up because it was randomly said to me. But maybe it also felt like he might be speaking for his feelings and how he might think I'd feel. I never had an issue with him loving Emmy or remembering her and feeling sad about her death or anything. I just never thought I'd be asked to name my child after her. To me, it feels weird and wrong, and this whole thing has made me insecure in our marriage. I told him as much, and he suggested I was jealous and shouldn't be so threatened by someone who died.
I mean, it comes across really strongly that he's not over his ex if he uses her name. I get that he's trying to honor her, but it's weird.
Your child with another person is not the time to honor your dead ex.
Correct. This is a time where if he had like a tattoo of Emmy on his arm, I might be okay with it.
Yeah.
But naming the kid you had with a woman that you've moved on with, it really sounds like you're not over her.
He's saying I would be okay with it even if you loved your late partner more than you loved me.
That's a weird thing to bring up unprompted.
That really sounds like him confessing that that's how he feels.
Yeah.
That he loves Emmy more than he loves her.
Yeah, like he's maybe putting Emmy on a little bit of a pedestal now that she can do no wrong.
Mm-hmm. He told his sister what was happening a week ago, and now she's asking me to explain my feelings and asking if I'm a woman or a little girl because only a little girl would be so jealous of a dead partner.
Damn, your sister-in-law sucks.
I asked my husband why he told his sister because now she was getting involved. He said he had to vent to someone and he felt I was being unreasonable and unkind about this. Am I the asshole?
You're not the asshole, especially now that he's gone and, like, sicked his sister on you. Like, once they start ganging up on you, it's pretty clear who's the asshole in the situation. No, I mean, it's very cut and dry in my opinion that names have to be mutually agreed on. I know he really wants to memorialize her. I feel like there's other ways to do it.
This is not the time or place to be memorializing your dead ex, no matter how much you loved her.
Some people don't even like being named after their own grandmother.
Yeah.
So this isn't even like somebody that the kid is blood related to, and they're going to have to be living up to this person's memory.
There's a comment that related to this, the top comment. As always, naming a baby is a 2 yes situation, and one parent is allowed to veto any name. I also don't like naming babies after dead people. They need their own identity and to not be compared to the angel who had the name previously.
Yeah, because that person can do no wrong.
Yes, like Emmy, he has put Emmy up on a pedestal because she's gone. they might not have even still been together, if she had lived.
Yeah, there's no way to tell.
But he is remembering her as more perfect than she was, I'm sure. Anyways, the comment continues. In your specific case, I hate the thought of your baby being named after his first love that he lost, that he would be with if she hadn't died. That seems like such an awful thing to do to you and to your daughter. It makes you the other woman to your own baby. I also feel that he was not upfront with you about being ready for a relationship or a child whilst this ghost had such a strong presence in his heart. Yeah, I also feel like if this was something he'd always thought of doing, he should have brought this up before you got pregnant.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, I think we're ready for a baby. Also, I would like to name it this.
he kind of blindsided you after you were already pregnant, huh?
Ugh, just imagine him starting to bring this child to Emmy's parents, and all of them happily rubbing their hands together because now they have an Emmy to dote on. This child will not be allowed to be their own person. OP's husband seems to think of the child as his dead ex's kid through a surrogate.
Yeah, I would not be comfortable with introducing new Emmy to Emmy's parents.
Because he is still in touch with Emmy's parents and stuff.
Which isn't weird until he starts naming the kid after Emmy.
Another comment, your husband needs counseling. He never mentioned this because he knew you would not be okay with it.
I don't know. I think he needs a little bit of a benefit of a doubt here. Maybe he's not aware of how little he's over her, which counseling could help with.
He definitely needs counseling. An OP responds to this. I really can't see him agreeing to it. I suggested counseling together and he was opposed and said we could talk it out between us. And someone replied to that. He said no because he knows he's wrong and that counseling would likely demonstrate this.
I get being shy about telling a counselor about your problems, but if your partner asks you to go to couples counseling, you go.
Yeah. If you want to save the marriage, yeah, if one of you asks for couples counseling, you go, or you expect that you're going to divorce.
Yeah.
I like this comment. Ask his sister if her brother is a man or a little boy who needs his sister to pick on pregnant ladies for him. Don't give an inch. I guarantee if you allow this, she will be treated differently than any other children you have with him. It's pretty creepy to make the person carrying your child name your baby after your long-lost lover.
A little bit. It's weird.
But I do like that response to the sister-in-law getting in on it.
Yeah, you gotta go and have sister fight your battles.
People are also commenting that you need to make it absolutely clear to the hospital staff that she is the only one permitted to fill out the birth certificate so her husband doesn't try and name the baby behind her back.
I suppose that the hospital would prioritize mom over dad. I don't know how that would work.
I've heard some stories where mom was in critical condition after the birth and the dad filled out the birth certificate. But I think if the mom requests it, the hospital would give priority to the mom.
Maybe you could just request we both have to sign it or something. Don't let just one of us fill it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel like it sounds like you're trying to claim the baby and cut him out.
I feel like you got to get this resolved before you go to the hospital, but I still wouldn't trust him.
No, not after he is pushing this hard.
Yeah, I still wouldn't trust him to fill it out by himself if, I was in critical condition and couldn't.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure all your bases are covered and you don't end up with a baby Emmy.
Yeah, it's hard to change their name.
Would I be the asshole if I started locking our bedroom door in the mornings?
Why do you need to start locking the bedroom doors? Is it a scary reason? Or is it just an annoying reason? I'm leaning towards annoying. But no, I guess you're entitled to your privacy.
My husband and I are on different sleep schedules. He tends to go to bed around midnight or 1 a.m. and wake up around 7 a.m. I don't get to bed until 4, 5, sometimes 6 a.m. and tend to sleep until around noon. Why are you giving me those eyes?
Sorry, the different sleep schedules has me suspicious that you're using this as a chance to call me out.
I am not, but we do have different sleep schedules, and this did remind us of our situation, except you're nothing like this husband.
Okay, because I sometimes come to bed at 3, 4, and you've been in bed at around midnight, so I just was oh no, is Kristie finally going to out me as a nocturnal person?
Well, you just outed yourself, but yes.
No.
I'm aware my sleep schedule is horrible, but until I can get it fixed, this is what I'm living with. The issue is my husband will routinely come into the bedroom and talk to me while I'm still trying to sleep. It's never anything important and definitely nothing time sensitive that couldn't wait until I was awake. He comes back into the room every 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes to make some random comment, sometimes to ask me a random question, Sometimes he'll walk in and just stand in the doorway staring at me.
So he's obviously holding some kind of grudge about you sleeping in.
But she's not even sleeping in. She's sleeping the same amount as him. It's just she does it at a later time than him.
Morning people do not have that logic. If you aren't up at the same time as them, then you're sleeping in.
And you are a lazy butt. Get out of bed.
Yeah, they don't care how late you stayed up. They don't care how productive you were in those 4 hours. No, society exists from 9 to 5.
I've told him before that this feels like a passive-aggressive attempt to annoy me into getting up, and that it results in me already being irritated before I even get up for the day. His response was that that's not how he meant it, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah, shut up. Those feelings are wrong.
This morning, he sent our Roomba into the bedroom while I was still sleeping, and the thing roared and banged around in there for an hour.
That's actually kind of hilarious, like that level of passive aggression. That's like when I need to get you up because we're going somewhere and you fall back asleep, so I toss the dog on the bed.
Oh, yeah. That is mean. She stomps all over me.
She licks your ears. Yeah, she does everything to get you out of bed.
Would I be the asshole if I started locking the bedroom door after my husband gets up so I can finish sleeping? There's a second bathroom he can use. It's the one he primarily uses anyway, so I wouldn't be cutting him off from the only bathroom or anything. This way, I can finish sleeping without becoming irritated at him first thing in the morning. And he can stop wandering in for no reason. I don't know if it's just an ingrained habit at this point or if he is really trying to annoy me into getting up, but he hasn't stopped despite me asking him to.
I mean, no, you wouldn't be the asshole if you want to sleep, like a full 8 hours or whatever. Your husband's being kind of an asshole. I feel like locking the door isn't the solution, but the solution involves him not being terrible. Like all the sane solutions do, at least, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do in this situation because your husband is not respecting you at all by coming in and talking to you when you're just trying to sleep. You obviously don't want to change your sleep schedule. If it's working for you as an adult, unless you're like sleeping in and like not getting the kids to school on time or something, I don't see anything wrong with you keeping like whatever sleep schedule you want as an adult. So yeah, I mean, lock that door if that's the level of solution you want, but I feel like he's going to hold a grudge about it.
Top comment, you could lock the door, but it's not going to help because he will just knock on the door to get you to answer him. The problem is the lack of respect he has for you.
Right?
I was like, yeah, he was like, locking the door isn't going to help. He's just going to be like, hey, babe, knock, 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 knock. Hey, I had a question.
Yeah.
Through the door, which is even worse.
I think he's very clearly holding some sort of grudge about you sleeping still, like morning people do.
She does have an edit. Since so many people keep asking me why my sleep schedule is so messed up, I'll put it here. I'm disabled and have chronic pain. If I go and lie down before I'm actually tired, I just end up lying there in pain. It's resulted in my sleep schedule getting pushed back later and later. Not ideal, but also not something I can just fix. I do not work. My husband is technically still employed, but is transitioning out and burning through his time off before he gets out. So he only goes into the office once every other week.
So your husband's getting ready to retire, pretty much?
Yeah, sounds like it.
It sounds like your husband is going to be that type of guy who just retires and does not actually retire. Still up early in the morning, still tromping around the house. It's going to be a rough match for the two of you, I feel.
I'm afraid of that, yes.
He has a lot of the same energy as mom on Sunday morning vacuuming the whole house at 9 a.m. to, like, I assume, punish her teenagers.
I was thinking that too. About the mom who's like, it's rise and shine, it's morning, and the teenage kids are like, ugh.
Yeah, I have no reason to be up. Why do I have to get up?
Another edit. Many people are pointing out that maybe my husband is lonely. That's a lot of hours that we could be spending together, etc. We're literally together all day, nearly every day. He only goes into work once every 2 weeks, and even then, it's only for 3 to 4 hours at a time. We spend the rest of the time less than 10 feet away from each other. We have plenty of time together. The few hours in the morning when I'm still asleep is the most time we spend apart.
He's still lonely, though. He needs constant wife.
He's so codependent on you.
He really sounds like it, right? He's quitting his job, so he's going to be just around you all the time. He needs you to fill in for all of the social interactions he would have gotten at the office.
He's retiring. You need to get him a part-time job as a greeter at Walmart.
Or a hobby.
Yes, or a hobby. I was like, there's a lot of old people that like still get part-time jobs as a greeter at a grocery store or whatever because they're just bored.
Yeah, either that or you go and get him a little hobby that you can stick out in the shed. And then he's not in the house, tromping around. He needs to take up woodworking, it sounds like.
That sounds like a possibly loud hobby.
That's why I said in the shed.
Another comment. Not everyone is on the same sleep schedule. And OP's husband knows she is struggling with chronic pain and is pestering her when she's trying to sleep, which is already difficult for someone in pain, as it is.
That's a good point. Yeah, if she finally managed to get to sleep, yeah, let her sleep.
You deserve to be able to rest without having him come in to ask random questions to try to wake you up. He sounds immature, and I fully agree that he is being disrespectful. Someone replies, sleep deprivation is a torture method. I'm not saying he's torturing her, but it's worth noting that not sleeping enough can seriously fuck you up. He is harming her physically, body and mind, and also emotionally.
That's pretty funny, yeah. Just not letting her get her full sleep, just blaring music outside the door. I mean, funny from my perspective, not for OP.
Oh, yeah, this is not funny from her perspective.
No, this is awful from her perspective.
So irate. Does your husband resent your sleep schedule? It sounds to me like he's passive-aggressively telling you that he wants you to be getting up earlier than you are. No judgment here, I'm a night owl too. And OP responds, he says he's not doing it to be passive-aggressive and he doesn't mean to wake me up, but he also hasn't stopped, and if he doesn't mean to wake me up, I'm not sure what he thinks he's doing when he walks in and starts talking to me while I'm sleeping.
My mom didn't mean to wake me up when she vacuumed the whole house at 10 a.m. either. Sure, I believe you. That is very nice. My mom would start banging pots and pans in the vacuum at 8 a.m. 10 a.m. would have been nice. You and your cushy childhood.
I never got to sleep until 10 a.m., I don't think.
Did your mom do the thing where she would just walk in and start talking to you and you weren't even conscious?
She would walk in and sing to me, good morning, good morning.
That sounds like your mom.
I can't think. No, there was another song she actually sang. What was it? Get up, get out of bed. The sun is shining overhead. A beautiful day for adventure and fun. Life is worth living out under the sun. That's what she would run and sing. And at 7 a.m., opening my blinds to let the sun shine in.
She's a very chipper woman, but that sounds like hell.
She is very much a morning person, and me and my dad are very much not. And like she's all chipper and trying to have conversations with me and my dad in the morning, and me and my dad are like, we're like cavemen in the morning, just grunts.
Your dad is awful in the morning. That makes me think of when we were just started to date, and we were driving across the state. So when I would come, I would then sleep on the couch at your parents' house overnight, because I would come and visit you for the weekend, and then you'd come visit me for the weekend. And your dad would always drink his coffee in one spot at the kitchen table, which just so happened to look directly at the couch I was sleeping on. So for weeks, I would wake up and see your dad just sitting there glaring at me while he drank his coffee, because that was his spot.
That is his spot. He cannot sit anywhere else. Do not disrupt his morning routine.
I had to ask you, I'm like, is your dad really mad that I'm here? Like, because he just glared at me for like 30 minutes this morning.
No, he's just not awake yet, and he's just staring into space trying to wake up.
Yeah, I think we, like, kind of jokingly brought it up to him, and he's like, I didn't even realize I was staring in your direction.
Yeah. He's not, until he gets those 2 cups of coffee in the morning, do not bother talking to him.
Yeah. But yeah, OP isn't the asshole. And sometimes morning people need to accept the fact that no one else is a morning person.
Yeah, work has forced me to be a morning person. I got to be at work at like 7:15. I'm not naturally a morning person, but now I can't sleep in on the weekends. I'm like, 6:30, time to get up, I still do my best to let you sleep as long as you want to.
Yeah, that's very nice of you, because I work from here and I set my own schedule. So, yeah, I admit that I abuse that privilege.
So you can be working from midnight to 3 a.m., which is when you are most alert.
I am very alert. I get so much work done from like 11 to 3 a.m., yep.
The petty in me wants her to, as soon as he goes to bed at midnight, run into the bedroom, flip the lights on, and be like, hey, honey, I have a question. And then keep doing that every 20 to 30 minutes until she goes to bed at 5 a.m.
I mean, that might teach him the lesson, right?
You would hope so.
He's going to be super mad.
Oh, yeah.
But you're already super mad, I assume.
I do feel like locking the door is not the solution here. Possibly the only thing that would help is giving him a taste of his own medicine or couples counseling.
It sure sounds like it. I feel like locking the door, I mean, like, it feels like a temporary solution and maybe one that won't even work, right?
Mm-hmm. He's going to think it's passive-aggressive of her to be locking the door and locking him out of the bedroom.
Absolutely. No, you need to get it through his thick skull that, like, hey, I am sleeping. Just talk to me a little bit later, please.
But he'll forget what he wanted to talk to her about by the time she gets up.
Just send a text. You can wake up to, like, a chain of text messages of him being like, I miss you, come talk to me. As someone who has trouble waking up in the morning, the amount of rage I feel towards anything waking me up, I am completely irrational until I'm fully conscious. Like, if you shake me awake for, like, somewhere we have to be, I hate you in that moment.
I know you do. And I'm so sorry.
And once I'm fully conscious, the feeling is gone. I love you again. But no, you woke me from slumber, you monster.
Also, your husband is the asshole for saying his interruptions are fine because he doesn't mean it. Tell him he may not mean it, but you definitely mean it when you lock the door because he's disregarding your feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get to just tell somebody, no, your feelings don't matter. I'm being great. You made it to the end of the video. I'm so proud of you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.